大家好，欢迎收看这一节的《明镜现场》，我是维人，人在纽约为您带来重要新闻。美国国会行政当局中国委员会于今天这个上午10点的时候，已经召开跟香港相关的问题听证会，审视美港关系的未来，讨论中国政府在香港问题中的角色，并为美国政府和国会提供意见。我们现在赶快把这个镜头转到现场，我们先来听一下现场的声音，待会我在过一段时间之后为大家做一段大段的这个整理。所以我们先来听一下现场的画面的声音。
Of every age and every background. Recently, there have been very credible reports that have emerged of the police's brutal treatment of demonstrators while in their custody. This weekend, for example, we saw images of the police holding down a protester whose head was bleeding and spraying into the wound on the head pepper spray, which is an act of total cruelty. We watched the police throw tear gas grenades at journalists, many of whom are far away from the demonstrators. Since the 21st of July, pro-Beijing thugs associated with organized crime and the party's United Front activities have violently confronted demonstrators and journalists and innocent passerbys, and the police just looked on, looked the other way, and in some cases even cooperated. And while detained demonstrators have been beaten or their faces smashed into the concrete, journalists have photographed these same thugs in detention, quote unquote, smoking and playing on their cell phones after attacking journalists and demonstrators. Although Hong Kong's chief executive may have promised to withdraw the extradition bill when the Legislative Council reconvenes in October, the government's violent response to the demonstrations demands accountability. And yet, Lam and the Hong Kong government refuses to press for any accountability for the violence by Hong Kong security forces that was committed and continues to be committed against peaceful protesters. The chief executive did not listen to the outcry against the bill in Hong Kong since its introduction, rather tried to ram it through the legislature. So what's at stake? The Hong Kong government's stubbornness in the face of public outcry has launched one of the greatest people power movements we have witnessed in recent memory. The actions of the government and the people demonstrate that there are two Hong Kongs. The Hong Kong of the government, totally leveraged by the Chinese government, has proven that it is not committed to a free and autonomous future for Hong Kong, nor is it one of rule of law or of justice. The other Hong Kong, the real one, is the one of its people, the students and youth activists, artists, journalists, doctors and nurses, lawyers, accountants, business people, from every walk of life, the city's people, of all ages who have shown us a Hong Kong with a vibrant civic life, prepared to stand up for its own autonomy, democracy, and liberty. It is clear that these two very
我们可以
different
听到
Hong
呢，
Kongs
他
are
在这个
colliding,
现场，刚刚他讲到的呢，
therefore the
先
city
是
is at a
谴责
crossroads.
在这段活
The fact
动
of the
当中
matter is maintaining
这个
Hong Kong's
警察
autonomy
对
is
于
critical
香
to
港
US
活动
interests,
当中所
and it
实
also
施
has
的，他
real
认为是许多的
implications for
暴
the
行，
United
而这
States
当中他
and
认
for
为
the
有
rest
非常
of the
多的
world.
证据哦，而
Hong
他也
Kong's
讲到
status
了
as an
7月
international
21
trade
号，
and
当
investment
时呢，北
hub
京
are just as
他认为
threatened
北京当
as
时
long
也
as the
雇佣
long
了
cherished
许多这
freedoms
些
of the
所
Hong
谓
Kong
的这个
people
黑道的分子，在
are
香港街头
as long
来
as
进
the
行这
long
些
cherished
不
freedoms
法
of the
治
Hong
的
Kong people are
也
being
这个
threatened.
参与这
Threatened,
个
by the way,
等于
not
是
by
镇
us,
压的
but by the
过
Communist
程。
Party of
他也
China.
说到，在很多时候
So it
呢，
is
其
my
实
belief
香港
that
的
it's
民
long
众呢，在
overdue
这
for
过
the
程当
United
中
States
是
and
被
the free
暴力的
world
对
to
待，
respond.
而很多时候
I hope
警
we
察
quickly pass
反
the
而
Hong
是
Kong
选
Human
择
Rights and
睁一只眼
Democracy
闭一
Act,
只眼，
which I
不
hope will
不
be
在
heard next
适时
week
的
in
时候
committee,
介入，
so that we can
来
provide
提
this
供
and
给香
future
港民众一个
administrations
安
with
全
updated
的这个
tools to
抗争的
respond
空间。
robustly and
他
flexibly
刚刚
to
有说
Chinese
到，现在
the
香
Chinese
港是
Communist
2个
Party
不
and
同的
its
香港，一
proxies
个是
who are
受到北京
undermining
控
Hong
制，
Kong's
并不是
autonomy.
法治的香港
The
社
US
会；另外一
government
个呢，
and
则
other
是真实的
democracies
香港，
need
而
to
这
hold
香港呢
Chinese and Hong，
就
Kong
是
officials accountable
由
for
这
their
个
failure
在
to
香
uphold
港
their
当地大家可以
commitments.
看到的
The
这些
United
示
States and
威
other
的
nations
民
have
众，比如
options
说香港的
precisely
年轻人，还
precisely
有
because Beijing
各行
benefits
各
from
业
Hong
的专
Kong's
业
special
人士，
status, a
所以他
special
认为
status
呢，
which has made
在这
Hong
个
Kong
中
an
美的
international
关系当
financial
中呢，
center
美
built
国应该要认
on the
同的就
promises
是
that Hong Kong made to the
跟
world, that
香
China
港
made to the world,
签订
with
的
regard to
这
Hong Kong
个
policy now
Joint
seek to break.
Declaration 之下
China's
的
leaders
这
must
些
either respect Hong Kong's
当时
autonomy
认
or know
为
that they're
是双
escalating
方彼此有认
aggression
定的这
will
些
lead
条
them
规，
to
而
face
不是目
real
前我们所
consequences,
看到
not
的
just
在
for the
北京
United
控
States,
制
but
之
from
下，
the
并
free
不是
world.
法治的香港。
And
我
I
们继
issue
续
one
来
final
听他
warning
说
in
什
this
么。
regard. I anticipate fully that they will continue their work to turn the system of government in Hong Kong to resemble more like the one that exists in Macau, one that allows them to intervene in the legal system as they wish. So we're here today to examine what has happened, to look forward to Hong Kong's future. There are many challenges in our relationship with China, but Hong Kong must remain a priority. Hong Kong is not a Chinese internal affair, and the world has a responsibility to help the people of Hong Kong move towards a future that protects their individual freedoms and provides for civic well-being. And so I look forward to hearing your views and today's discussion. And I thank you for your courage and for your commitment.
他最后就说到了
Thank
这
you very
个
much.
中国
And,
是
let me
一
just
直
emphasize
尤其是
one
北
thing
京是
Senator
一直
Rubio
不停的
said,
强调
we
香港的事务是
represent
内
a
政
clear
不过他说
understanding
香港的事务绝对不是中国的内政，这是一个美国需要极度高度关注的一个议题。他认为在未来呢，香港将会是在美国国会议会上面一个需要放在这个他们的这个轻重缓急的这个名单上面最前面的一个议题。那所以他说他今天非常期待要来听这些目击者带来的这些 testimony 这些证言，希望呢这些证言呢也可以给他们一些很具体的一些内容，帮助他们接下来在国会的这个听证会的程序。
Thank you very much, and what a panel of heroes, the best and the bravest and the brightest. Thank you for being here and bearing witness to a very ugly truth as to what Hong Kong is doing. It has been a long, hot summer in Hong Kong, as we all know. The inspiring and courageous protests there are a daily reminder of the stark differences between free and authoritarian societies. The people of Hong Kong have shown the world that a free people will not accept the boot of repression without protest.
I say frame it.
The millions of Hong Kong protesters have also done the world a great service. They have exposed Beijing's plan to erode freedoms guaranteed to the people of Hong Kong by international treaty. They have exposed Beijing's pernicious and repressive behavior. And make no doubt about it, the Chinese government is both uniquely repressive and incredibly paranoid about maintaining its grip on power. Today, there are over 1 million Uyghurs interned in Orwellian political education camps. Human rights lawyers have disappeared and been horribly tortured in detention. Christians, Tibetans, and labor activists and journalists as well face egregious abuse and the most intrusive system of surveillance operating in the world today. Why would anyone want their political fate determined by Beijing? If given a choice, no one would. As inspiring as the protests have been, they have also raised serious concerns about the actions of the Hong Kong and Chinese Communist government. The violence and the use of force perpetrated against the protesters by thugs and police, I repeat myself, is extremely alarming. Representative McGovern and I were the first members of Congress to call on the Trump administration to suspend the sale of tear gas, rubber bullets, pepper spray, and other crowd control equipment to the Hong Kong police. And I agree with him. We need to quickly pass the PROTECT Act that we introduced last week. Also alarming are the repeated and irresponsible threats of intervention made by Chinese officials, particularly given that this year marks the 30th anniversary of the Tiananmen Square massacre. The Hong Kong and Chinese governments are alone responsible for the grievance expressed by the protesters, and they alone can peacefully end the protests by addressing the demands for universal suffrage and investigation of police threats. Blaming the United States government and blaming the U.S. Congress for the protests is an act of cowardly propaganda and not befitting of a nation such as China, which has aspirations of global leadership. It is time for the U.S. policy to respond to Beijing's long-term ambitions in the Hong Kong and pass the Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act. 5 years ago, Mr. Chairman, I introduced the Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act with my CE co-chair, Senator Brown. The bill allows for a more robust U.S. response to the steady erosion of Hong Kong's autonomy and human rights. Over the years, Senator Rubio and I have upgraded the bill, and you as well, to reflect the kidnapping of booksellers, the disqualification of elected lawmakers, the political prosecutions of Joshua Wong, Nathan Law, Benny Tai, and others. However, every single time we pushed for passage, there was opposition from the diplomats, the so-called experts, the committee chairs in both the House and the Senate, and the American Chamber of Commerce in Hong Kong. We were told not to upset the status quo. We were told that upgrading U.S. policy would undermine their efforts with Beijing and its hand-selected political leaders in Hong Kong. We were told that our bill would cost U.S. businesses. It is the exact same advice that we have been hearing on China since Tiananmen Square. And the big issue was then MFN. China experts have failed the American people, and their advice helped to gut parts of our own economy. Their advice this time will fail the people of Hong Kong as well. Specifically, Mr. Chairman, as you know, the bill directs the Secretary of State to certify to Congress annually whether Hong Kong continues to deserve special treatment under U.S. law from mainland China, that is different from mainland China, in such matters as trade, customs, sanctions enforcement, law enforcement cooperation, and protection of human rights and the rule of law. It directs the State Department not, I say not, to deny entry visas based on an applicant's arrest or detention for participating in nonviolent protest activities in Hong Kong. It requires an annual report from the Commerce Department on whether the Hong Kong government adequately enforces U.S. export controls and sanctions laws. It requires the Secretary of State to submit a strategy to Congress to protect U.S. citizens and businesses in Hong Kong from the erosion of autonomy and the rule of law because of actions taken by the Chinese Communist government. Requires the President to identify and sanction persons in Hong Kong or in mainland China responsible for the erosion of Hong Kong's autonomy and serious abuses of human rights. We have wide agreement for this legislation. It is time that it passed. I've heard it said that the business of Hong Kong is business. I believe it's clear that the business of Hong Kong is freedom. The people of Hong Kong are working to protect the rights and rule of law that are the foundation of the city's prosperity and unique vitality. This commission and so many of our colleagues in both the House and the Senate stand united with the people of Hong Kong and will not be silent in the face of threats to their continued liberties, guaranteed liberties, and way of life. The U.S. and the international community cannot be silent or just make noise with nothing that backs it up. The whole world has a stake in a peaceful and just resolution of Hong Kong's and the survival of the one country, two systems model. Hong Kong people, yayo. Yield back.
好，我们刚刚听到的呢是这个众议院的议员Chris Smith， 他也是这个共和党的一个议员哦。那他刚刚就说到，最后他是以加油做一个结局。他说呢，他认为现在香港的情势呢其实是非常丑恶的。我们现在看到的呢是自由跟这个独裁两方这个不同势力的拉锯。他认为呢，香港人在这个活动当中是表现出来了绝对的这个和平的诚意。他并认为呢，现在我们从香港问题上面可以看到的呢，除了是香港人权上的议题以外，还可以从中可以衍生到看到最近呢，一连串的人权议题，比如说现在有100万的维吾尔族人，他们仍然是在教育营中被这个不知道他们的下落，跟他们的家人也不知道他们的生死，还有这些在中国的宗教团体，比如说像是基督徒或者是西藏的一些人权人士，他们现在的下落呢，跟他们的处境也是十分的堪忧的，并且就说到了，其实香港的暴力呢，他要再强调就回复刚才这个Marco Rubio 他所说的，警察跟这些黑道他们所加起来的这些暴行呢，其实是让大家应该要十分关注，是非常可怕的一个趋势。他认为现在非常需要赶快来通过这个相关法案来保护香港人民的人权自由。他并说到了现在今年呢是天安门的30周年，他认为在这样子的一个情势之下呢，十分重要的，我们需要再把这个关注更再一次放到在北京的这个施压的人权上面。他并说到了现在香港人民他们最需要的呢就是双普选，说到在这个自由还有这个民主法治的基本上呢，香港人民他们已经展现出来，他们可以十分和平的来进行这次的抗议，并且也可以和平的来结束这次的抗议。他们现在需要的呢就是向美国以及全球的这个社会的帮助以及给予他们支持。所以现在呢，这个会议进行到了来介绍今天的目击者。我们刚刚可以看到呢，介绍出来的有这个何韵诗，就是民主活动家和这个大家知道的歌手艺人。Sunny Cheung 呢，他是香港大专学界国际事务代表的发言人。还有 Sharon Hom， 他是纽约城市大学中国人权执行主任和名誉法律教授。还有呢，这个我们待会应该看到的就是黄之锋，也就是这一次这个大家最关注的一个青年代表，他也是当 时雨伞运动的一个领导人。还有我们现在看到的这个 Garrett， 这个丹加拉特博士呢，他是之前有写过一篇应该是一本书，这个内容呢就是中国香港的反霸权阻力，城市抗议可视化。所以现在我们在这个介绍。
Dr. Garrett was a career national security professional.
还是在介绍这个 Garrett 博士他的背景，以及为什么他是很适合来到今天的这个听证会当中。现在是从黄之锋开始。
Good morning, Chairman McGovern, Co-Chairman Rubio, and members of this commission. It's an honor to be invited back to Capitol Hill to speak about developments in Hong Kong. You may recall that I last traveled to Washington more than 2 years ago and testified before this commission in this same building on May 3rd of 2017. While I said back then Hong Kong's one country, two system was becoming one country, one and a half system, I don't think there's any doubt among observers who have followed recent events. Today, we are approaching dangerously close to one country, one system. The present state of affairs reflects Beijing's inability to understand, let alone govern, a free society. The ongoing demonstration began on June 9th, when 1 million Hong Kongers took to the street in protest of proposed legislation that would have allowed criminal suspects to be extradited from Hong Kong to China, where there are no guarantees of the rule of law. Still, before the night have ended, Chief Executive Carrie Lam announced the bill's reading would assume and resume in 3 days. Hong Kongers were preparing for the last flight on June 12th. And then the unthinkable happened. Knowing that Beijing controlled enough votes in the Legislative Council, protesters surrounded the complex earlier in the morning, successfully preventing lawmakers from convening. I was then serving my third jail sentence. For a moment, I wonder why the news channel was replaying footage of the umbrella movement, although it was not long before I realized Hong Kongers were back with even stronger determination. Lam suspended the bill on June 15, but fell short of fully withdrawing it. A historical 2 million people demonstrate the following day, equivalent to 1 in 4 out of our entire population. I'm not aware of anything comparable to this level of discontent against a government in modern history. I was released exactly 3 months ago, on June 17, and have since joined fellow Hong Kongers to protest in the most creative ways possible. In addition to the bill withdrawn, we demand Lam to retract label on us as rioters, drop all political charges, and conduct an independent investigation into police brutality. Some of us crowdfunded for newspaper advertisement ahead of the G20 summit in late June, calling for the world not to neglect Hong Kong. Others entered the Chamber of Legislative Council complex on July 1st, the same day another 500,000 Hong Kongers protest peacefully. Crowds continue to show up in large number in the past 15 weekends, with small rallies taking place almost daily across the territories. But the government would not listen. Instead of diffusing the political crisis, it dramatically empowered the riot police. The movement reached a turning point on 21 of July. That night, pro-Beijing thugs with suspect ties to organized crime gathered in the Yunnan train station and indiscriminately attacked not just protesters returning home, reporters on the scene, but even passers-by. The police refused to show up despite repeat emergency call, plunging Hong Kong into a police state with mob violence. On August 5th alone, the day Hong Kongers participate in a general strike, riot police shoot 800 canisters of tear gas to disperse the peaceful mass. Compare that to only 87 fire in the entire umbrella movement 5 years ago. The police excessive force today is clear. Their excessive use of pepper spray, pepper balls, rubber bullets, beanbag rounds, and water cannons almost all of which are imported from Western democracy, are no less troubling. In light of this, I applaud Chairman McGovern and Congressman Smith for introducing the Protect Hong Kong Act last week. Americans' company must not profit from the violent crackdown of freedom-loving Hong Kongers. Co-Chairman Rubio is also right for recently writing that Hong Kong's special status under American law depends on the city being treated as a separate customs area. Beijing should not have it both ways, grabbing all the economic benefit of Hong Kong's standing in the world, while erosion of our freedom. This is the most important reason why the Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act enjoys the broad support of Hong Kong civil society. Lam finally withdrew the bill earlier this month, but just as protesters have long stopped calling for her resignation, this decision was almost meaningless by now. The movement is far from over because it has long moved beyond one bill or one person. Our most important demand is genuine structural change in Hong Kong, which means free election. Our government's lack of representation lies at the heart of the matter. As I speak, Hong Kong is standing at a critical juncture. The stakes have never been higher. We are confronted by the huge Chinese military build-up just across the border in Shenzhen. President Xi Jinping is unlikely to take hardline action before the upcoming National Day in October. But no one can be sure what's next. Sending in the tanks remain irrational, but not impossible. With Chinese interference in Taiwan, Tibet, and especially Xinjiang, it serves as a reminder that Beijing is prepared to go far in pursuit of its grand imperial project. I was once the face of Hong Kong's youth activism. In this leaderless movement, my sacrifices are minimal compared to those among us who have been laid off of protesting, who have been injured but too afraid of even going to a hospital, or who have been forced to take their own life. Two have each lost an eye. The youngest of the 1,500 arrested so far is only 12 years old schoolboy. I don't know them personally, yet their pain is my pain. We belong to the same community, struggling for our right of self-determination, so we can build one brighter and common future. A child born today will not even have celebrated his or her 28th birthday by 2047, when the 50 years unchanged policy is set to expire. That deadline is closer to us than it appears. There's no return for us. Decades from now, when historians look back, I'm sure that 2019 will turn out to have been a watershed. I hope historians will celebrate the United States Congress for having stood on the side of Hong Kongers, the side of human rights and democracy. God bless Hong Kong. Thank you.
好，我们刚刚听到的呢是这个这种秘书长、雨伞运动领导人黄之锋，他刚刚的这个内容呢，从这个香港运动的一开始讲到目前的发展，他讲到他当时是如何被逮捕的，而在这个目前情况之下，他认为香港已经不是一国两制，而是1.5制。他认为在这当中呢，我们可以看到在这个尤其是7月21号的这个抗议活动当中呢，香港的警方是跟黑道分子结合，以这个一个非常暴力不理性的方式来镇压香港的这个运动。他认为在这个运动当中可以体现到的就是香港现在已经不是一个法治的国度了，而他把这个警方用的这些像催泪瓦斯啊、催泪弹啊，还有橡胶子弹跟当年的这个雨伞运动比起来，表示呢这个数字上的确是上升了非常多，也表示在这几年的演变之下呢，可以看得出来香港是已经不是他们认知当中应该可以有的一国两制的这个保护伞之下了。他也认为呢，现在呢香港的情势之下，他十分同意 Marco Rubio 所说的，香港应该是在与美国的这个协议之下，拥有一个特别的自治区的一个这个 status 一个地位。北京呢不可以 又要享受香港的这个经由经济的这个贸易区的优惠，又要把这个一国两制的这个协定把它抛在脑后。他认为呢，虽然现在领政已经在这个上个月初的时候呢，把这个逃犯条例把它撤回，但是呢，其实这已经不是现在问题的主轴了。现在问题的主轴呢，就是香港人他们需要可以真正的普选，这是他们所被承诺的，但是到目前为止呢，都从来没有实现过。就是目前香港的这个运动为什么会继续下去的原因。他表示，现在呢，运动其实远远还不到要结束，还没有到尽头，因为直到香港可以真实普选的那一天呢，香港人民是不会放弃的，而这也是他们所被承诺的。他就说到了这个10月1号，北京将会盛大的来庆祝国庆。他认为在这之前呢，习近平不会做什么大动作，但之后呢就非常难说了。他也提到了台湾、西藏还有新疆。他认为，在这些国家还有这些地区呢，都可以看到，北京在人权问题上面处理的确需要世界各地一起来介入，才可以保障这些地区人民他们的生命安危。他并且说到，这一次的这个运动当中呢，被逮捕的最年轻的这个抗议者呢，只有12岁。他认为，这的确让他为未来感到十分的悲观。他并说到了，在2047年呢，当时就会这个香港回归已经50年了，所以就表示呢，现在出生的这些人呢，到2047年呢，其实年纪都还不到30岁，还是很年轻的。但在这个成长的过程当中呢，他们的这个未来在香港是不是会有希望呢？其实都要取决于国际社会是不是愿意在现在这个非常重要的交叉路口介入，来帮助香港人取得他们所应得的。好，我们现在听到的呢是Demosistō 民主活动家还有香港的这个艺人他的证言。
With their propaganda machines spreading false claims. Right now, I am facing threats from pro-Beijing supporters and could face arrest and prosecution at any time. Not only have I faced difficulties in both China and Hong Kong, but the self-censorship has now spread towards global institutions and cities. Recently, the National Gallery of Victoria in Melbourne, Australia, denied venue to an event of Chinese artist Badiu Cao and myself due to security concerns. Celebrities from Hong Kong, Taiwan, and China are all pressured into voicing their unanimous support for the Beijing government and could be condemned for keeping their silence. Hong Kongers are now living in a constant fear and have unfortunately lost most of our freedoms. For a city that has been famously known as politically indifferent, the younger generations have took up the road to safeguard our home, standing up courageously to the corrupted system in spite of increased suppression. To the rest of the world, the United States is often a symbol of freedom and democracy. The freedom Americans enjoy is something that the people of Hong Kong have long hoped for. Even though our languages and cultures differ, what we have in common is the pursuit for justice, freedom, and democracy. Through the challenges of Hong Kong, the West is also waking up to China's insinuating power in a global scale. Hong Kong is connected to the world in multiple ways, but China is trying to isolate it to exert control. If Hong Kong falls, it would easily become the springboard for the totalitarian regime of China to push its rules and priorities overseas, utilizing its economic powers to conform others to their communist values, just as they have done with Hong Kong in the past 22 years. The US and its allies have everything to fear if they wish to maintain a world that is free, open, and civil. I therefore urge the US Congress to stand by Hong Kong, and most of all, to pass the Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act. This is not a plea for the so-called foreign interference. This is a plea for democracy. This is a plea for the freedom to choose. And lastly, I would like to quote Eleanor Roosevelt, your most beloved First Lady. You gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You are able to say to yourself, I lived through this horror. I can take the next thing that comes along. This is a global fight for the universal values that we all cherish, and Hong Kong is in the very front lines of this fight. We are once fearful of what might have come with our silence. And for that, we have now become fearless. Thank you.
好，我们刚刚听到的呢是何律师的发言哦，他主要呢就是在描述香港的这些艺人，还有这些只要是任何愿意站出来为香港发声的这些艺术家呢，他们在国际的舞台上面是如何受到政治的压迫和打压。他并以他自己为例子，表示呢，在这个长期为香港发声之下呢，他是第一手受到这个迫害长期的。其中一个例子哦，他并说到了现在的这个香港的人民呢，他们是在一个持续的恐惧当中，尤其是香港的青年，在这样的情况之下，愿意勇敢站出来，大家应该都要给他们掌声。他并说到了，现在美国人每天可以呼吸到的自由呢，是香港人他们十分希望有一天可以得到的。在过去22年，这个香港回归之后呢，香港人都一直是活在恐惧当中，而且这个趋势呢，只有越来越深。他认为呢，他要强烈的呼吁美国国会来通过《香港人权与民主法案》。他认为呢，就像美国的前总统罗斯福所讲的，香港人在经历了这么多的这些奋斗还有恐慌之后呢，他相信他们接下来呢，已经是变成了一个非常意志坚强的一个群体，并且可以来面对未来的任何的挑战。好，我们现在再来听下一位的目击者，就是香港大专学界国际事务代表团发言人 Sunny Cheung 的发言。
By the police that it was reasonable for them to rape some female protesters when they frequently work overtime. Besides, the authority tries to stop us from having peaceful car strike when more than 50,000 students participating in it. People who side with Beijing are now advocating to install surveillance cameras inside the classroom to monitor teachers and students who dare to support car strike and support the movement. This apparently violates our academic freedom and freedom of speech. This is the right terror created by the Beijing government, which should be alerted by all people here. Nowadays, students and Hong Kong people are even ready to die for Hong Kong, and some already did. They believe that the only limit to their freedom is their death. This is the ultimate sacrifice for the motherland, and we must not forget them. Many students face strong objection from their family. Some of them are even forced to leave home. But they still choose to head to the front line carrying a letter with their last will. They are determined. They understand that the price of freedom is high. It always has been. But it is a price they are willing to pay, and it is a path of liberation they are willing to choose. We do not fight for freedom out of passion. Passion will burn out. We fight for freedom from a sense of duty and dignity. China is rising. China is using its nationalism and invasive economic dominance to colonize small countries and put intense pressure on people and companies like Cathay Pacific who do not conform to them. Teachers, students, civil servants, businessmen are all facing political purge in Hong Kong. This new form of imperialism of China poses a severe threat to Hong Kong. This is a clash of values and system. We need to contain the Communist Party of China. Offering help to Hong Kong is the primary move to contain China. One country, two systems will expire in 2047. U.S. government should help Hong Kong people have the right to decide our future. Therefore, we urge the U.S. Congress to pass the Human Rights and Democracy Act to expand the current sanction list to all individuals who infringe our human rights. Moreover, if a genuine universal suffrage cannot be achieved immediately, our autonomy and rule of law will continue to erode. The situation of China manipulating Hong Kong as a backdoor for trading with Iran and North Korea will also continue. Then, the U.S. government should not acknowledge the special status of Hong Kong. U.S. must send a strong signal that this special status should be cancelled if Hong Kong lost its autonomy in order to put pressure on China. Otherwise, China will keep taking advantage of Hong Kong as an international society but hollow out our liberal values. With such an assertive policy, it demonstrates that America will no longer tolerate totalitarianism. Hong Kong people will take every step with the last inch of our effort to fight for democracy and freedom. As Thomas Jefferson once said that he would be forever against any form of tyranny. And I believe this is the time for Americans to stand with Hong Kong. 光復香港，時代革命。Thank you.
我们刚刚听到的是香港大专学界国际事务代表团的发言人 Cheung， 他说呢，在这次的这个抗议活动当中呢，很多的族群都是特别遭到迫害的，比如说是这个女性的抗议者呢，他认为在这个当中其实受到很多不公平的对待的，而在这个校园当中呢，老师和学生也居然在这活动当中受到闭路的这个监视，就是说在这个一些校园当中呢，甚至是有摄像头在教室里面监视学生和老师的一举一动，这是完全违反香港对于法治的认知。他说现在香港人已经愿意为这个香港的战役呢是失去一切的，其中很多人呢他们也的确是真的牺牲了他们的生命。他在强调就是大家不要忘记这一些在这次活动当中牺牲的人。他说到呢这也体现出来了香港人他们现在的确是非常坚定，并且有这个意志力要来为香港的未来来继续抗争。他并说到现在中国是越来越强大了，在这当中呢，他们利用他们的经贸上的优势来给予各式各样的压力，比如说像对国泰这样几个民营的机构，因为在这个活动当中不愿意明确表态，也是受到了很大的打压。他就强调，真普选没有办法实施的话，香港的这个运动是不会停息的。他并说到了，其实香港呢，现在在中国是被利用为一个像是后门，来跟伊朗和北韩等这个不在这个国际舞台上面这个贸易协定当中不受认可的这些国家进行交易。因此呢，除了香港的人权之外呢，大家也要来注意在这个香港在中国的经贸交易上面，它是占了一个什么样子的地位，并且呢，希望从中可以给予制裁。那现在呢，在这个发言的就是纽约城市大学中国人权执行主任和名誉法律教授 Sharon Hom， 我们来听他的发言。
I want to talk about the rule of law just briefly because there are tensions that were baked into the one country, two systems framework, making one country, one system or one and a half system perhaps an inevitable outcome. Taiwan's president, Tsai Ing-wen's takeaway from the current political crisis hits the nail on the head. Not only is one country, two systems not a viable model for Taiwan, but the Hong Kong example proves that dictatorship and democracy cannot coexist. An independent functioning rule of law is essential, yet the Chinese state constitution and numerous high-level policy pronouncements legitimizes the subordination of law to the leadership of the party. The reintroduction of the Article 23 legislation that's in the works in Hong Kong will inevitably carry imprints of the party's concepts of national security. Second, the demand for complete loyalty to the party guts the independence of key pillars of rule of law, legal profession, and the media. But Hong Kong is not the mainland yet. Despite efforts like the proposed Hong Kong national anthem law and proposed loyalty requirements, loyalty, pride, and love cannot be legislated. So it's not surprising that Hong Kong people, foreign business, and the international community have been alarmed. The outrageous and painful excessive violence and abuse of law by the police have already been extensively described. I will move to then talking about what's at stake in terms of the universal values. China's aggressive activism at the UN is undermining international standards, weakening the existing human rights mechanisms, and restricting the participation of independent civil society. This cuts Hong Kong people, as well as human rights defenders on the mainland and Tibetan and Uyghur communities, from the key international platforms that's available to press for accountability. With this, instead of the West's hope for convergence, China is not only playing by the rules, it is vocally and persistently asserting a set of relativist criteria that it alone can apply and pushing for Chinese models of human rights, democracy, and development. That is, no human rights, no development, and no democracy. This rhetoric helps to intimidate, silence, and deflect from the accountability of the state. I want to point quickly to its role in blocking independent voices. China sits on the ECOSOC Committee of the UN, and Gongos, who do not face any objections, such as the interruptions of Denise Ho's recent intervention at the Human Rights Council. The intervention last week by Patsy Ho, the representative of the Hong Kong Federation of Women, is illustrative. She not only defended the SAR government's handling of the protests, but she accused the Hong Kong protesters of child exploitation and more. Patsy Ho, co-chairman and director of Macau Casino Operation, and is also a standing committee member of the Beijing Municipal Committee of the Chinese People's Consultative Conference. Because I am out of time, I want to really take the time to jump ahead to the problem of in addition to the disinformation campaign, including the egregious use by the China Daily on 9/11 of a photo depicting the destruction of the World Trade Towers to warn of terrorist attacks by Hong Kong protesters. Beijing is advancing a narrative of violence to frame the Hong Kong protests that is echoed uncritically by the international community. Within this framework, the Hong Kong police, protected in full tactical gear, armed with rubber bullets, guns, tear gas, pepper spray, and batons, wielding the coercive power of the state, is presented as one side of an escalating violence clashes with civilian protesters. Hence, we hear both sides calls to de-escalate, but this deflects attention away from police accountability for its excessive use of force and its complicity with non-state violence. Moreover, the narrow violence framing of the situation on the ground is erasing or marginalizing intentionally the proliferation of diverse, creative, and peaceful protests by the Hong Kong people, including by students in boycotts, elderly citizens, silver-haired volunteers protecting the children actions, Hong Kong people singing in the malls, in the metro stations, in neighborhood gatherings, shouting the 10 p.m. shouts of slogans echoing throughout all the neighborhoods in Hong Kong, and forming human chains, creating Lenin walls. And last Friday was Mid-Autumn Festival, and a small family-owned bakery in Saiwan made mooncakes with protest slogans. And in typical humorous Hong Kong fashion, Hong Kongers are creating art. This is what is happening on the ground. Hong Kong people are practicing democracy and exercising their freedoms for as long as possible. Hong Kongers are making the road by walking it. That is the real revolution already underway. Thank you again, and I look forward to your questions.
Well, thank you very much.
好，我们刚刚听到的呢是 Sharon Hom 纽约城市大学的中国人权执行主任和名誉法律教授。他刚刚说到了，这个他就引用这个台湾的总统蔡英文的说法，就是说，在目前的情况之下呢，就是一个很明显的例子，一国两制是不可实行的，因为香港的这个运动呢，就体现出来。独裁还有民主法治是无法共存、无法并行的。他并说到呢，这个北京当局呢要把这些立法的许多内容呢，其实是十分可笑的，比如说这个爱国心啊、爱啊，还有这个这个对于你国家的这个骄傲感啊，这些是无法，是要出自内心的感受，而不是你立法可以把它在法律里面要求人们要这么做到的。所以他认为呢，这些在这些很小的地方就可以看得出来，北京跟香港其实是非常不一样的走向。他并说到这个。大家一直关注的在香港的警察的暴力的行为，他说呢，这其实不仅仅是对香港的影响，他认为呢，在这个整个国际舞台上面呢，其实也是一个可以表现出来中国和北京他们的施政的确不是以一个民主和法治的方向在行走，并且他说在这个联合国的舞台上面呢，中国是十分的，他用的字是 aggressive， 是十分强势的，在这个很多的法治上面呢，是完全忽视世界各国他们的需求，以及是没有这个诚意要和世界各国来达成共识的，根本是他说 not playing by the rule， 就是所有任何现在有的这些框架呢，中国都不愿意在这当 中来进行有任何的这个妥协和配合。所以呢，他认为这个中国一直强调中国有自己的人权法治的方式的中国有一个 model of 人权哦，就是他们自己演变出来的治治的方式。他认为人权在中国，其实我们从这个不管是维吾尔族人或是西藏，都可以看得出来，这些所谓的中国的人权其实是不存在的。他并说到了这个何超琼上个礼拜在联合国人权理事会的发言，指出香港的这个行为呢，是示威者以暴力来破坏香港稳定，并且煽动大片年轻人上街成为暴徒。他也是严重的谴责何超琼，他认为这些既得利益者在这个北京的压力之下的发言，他认为这完全是不应该可以得到这个国际，尤其是在联合国上的舞台的。他认为这是十分粗暴的中国的这个在国际舞台上面的发声的方式。他并说到了香港人呢，在目前的情况之下，还是有许多的活动，比如说人墙啊，比如说这个 London Wall 啊，或者是自发性的在商场里面唱歌，这一切都表现出来，香港人他们还是希望尤其是在目前的情况之下，他们还是会尽可能的争取人权和自由，并且只要在这个情势允许之下呢，他们还是会以和平的方式来争取他们所应得的人权和自由。现在发言的呢是 Garrett 丹加勒特博士，他是中国香港的反霸权阻力城市抗议可视化的作者，我们来听他的发言。
Chinese authorities said that Hong Kong faced a society-wide, quote-unquote, long-term struggle to eradicate the party-state's enemies in the city, a de facto cultural revolution that would involve, at a minimum, rectifying and synthesizing the judiciary, legislature, media, secondary schools, and universities. Chinese and special administrative regions' furtive efforts to impose the communist legal, political, and social norms on Hong Kong via the extradition law and unprecedented violent suppression of protests have provoked the most severe crisis of one country, two systems, as Hong Kongers fight for their endangered freedoms, identity, and way of life. This is not an anomaly. It is the sixth Chinese governance crisis involving one country, two systems since 2003, and the fifth since Xi Jinping took control of Hong Kong affairs. Each has an underlying Chinese national security nexus seeking to broaden Beijing's powers, its so-called comprehensive jurisdiction in Hong Kong, and to roll back Hong Kongers' high degree of autonomy, liberal freedoms, and limited democracy by forcibly transforming Hong Kong into a Chinese communist city while maintaining a veneer of no changes. My next few observations will quickly touch upon the extradition law nexus to national security. Senior Chinese officials have described the extradition battle right now, as a quote-unquote battle of life and death, and as a battle to defend Hong Kong. A decisive war defending one country's or two systems or jeopardizing it. Since Xi Jinping came to power, national security is now a mandatory obligation for people in the Hong Kong SAR. This was never written in the original basic law. This has been done post facto since 2012. Early in the extradition law saga, senior Chinese leaders have made extraordinary endorsements of the extradition law, expressing their full support. This included two Politburo Standing Committee members, Han Zheng and Wang Yang, the head of the State Council's Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office, Zhang Xiaoming, and the chief of the Hong Kong SAR Liaison Office, Wang Zhemin. There are also indications that President Xi Jinping, as a member of the Central Coordination Group for Hong Kong and Macau Affairs, has weighed in. An influential United Front commentator and state media has also observed that if it were not for the full support of the central government, the legislation would have been aborted. Chief Executive Carrie Lam recently lamented in a leaked speech that since the issue had been elevated to one of national security and sovereignty, it had stripped her of any solutions or room for political maneuver. Another source explained that because the ELAB involved the mainland special administrative region relationship with the central government and the implementation of the basic law, it was not a matter entirely within the autonomy of the special administrative region government. This touches upon the Hong Kongers' 5 demands as well as U.S. national security, U.S. policy towards Hong Kong. Beijing's imposition of communist, legal, political, and social national security norms on Hong Kong constitute a violation of Article 5 of the Basic Law, prohibiting the introduction of the socialist system in the territory. Moreover, the party's application of its national security with Chinese characteristics, mandates, and loyalty expectations to the Special Administrative Region and its civil servants effectively dissolves any difference between the Communist and Hong Kong systems, thereby posing a significant threat to U.S. interests related to the protection of sensitive technologies and adherence to export controls. My last two comments before I submit the rest of my testimony. The Hong Kong police force has been militarized and nationalized by the Chinese Communist Party, effectively becoming its little gun in the Special Administrative Region. Since the beginning of 2019, mainland police have been tasked by President Xi with, quote-unquote, preventing and countering color revolutions, unquote. China's public security minister subsequently ordered police to firmly, quote, firmly fight to protect China's political security, unquote, defend its national security and the leadership of the Communist Party. Earlier, Hong Kong police had received similar national security tasking from Vice Premier Han Zheng, who, in August 2018, charged them to, quote-unquote, firmly and effectively safeguard China's national security and rule of law by accurately and comprehensively implementing one country, two systems. Also, according to a vice chairman of the State Council's Chinese Association of Hong Kong and Macau Studies, the Hong Kong police were now, quote-unquote, on the forefront when it came to curbing Hong Kong independence, which meant their duty was not just to maintain public order, but to defend national security too. Chinese our Chief Executive Carrie Lam, in a leaked speech, also iterated that the Hong Kong police were the only solution that they currently possess in dealing with the extradition process. In no small way, the Hong Kong police have become the Special Administrative Region's People's Armed Police. My last comment. Chinese authorities have dedicated significant academic, legal, political, propaganda, and United Front resources to systematically manipulating and recasting Deng Xiaoping's era content and understandings of the basic law in one country, two systems to accommodate Xi Jinping's totalitarian national security mandates, logics, and outlook. The Chinese Association of Hong Kong and Macau Studies, or Hong Kong Macau Studies Association, a shadowy political warfare-like think tank connected to the State Council's Hong Kong and Macau's Affairs Office, is one of these new subversive vehicles. Concomitantly, a network of party-state constitutional and basic law experts and scholars, some attached to the National People's Congress Standing Committee, Hong Kong Basic Law Committee, have similarly contributed significantly to the erosion of one country, two systems policy, mobilized political violence, and informed the central authorities' understandings of the actual situation in the region. All these united frontiers are key players in the erosion of Hong Kong's freedoms and democracy and enablers of state tyranny. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
好，刚才我们听到的呢是这个长期关注香港和中国议题的这个 Garrett 教授，他其实当中举了非常多的这个例子，但是他主要的大意呢，就是现在呢香港它面临的就是在2003年以来第6个关于一国两制的这个他用词是 crisis 危机。他认为呢，像在现在香港的情况呢，已经慢慢要变成在这个中国统治之下的另外一个共产的一个城市。他并举例到了这个Carrie Lam 林郑呢，他之前的发言呢也表示，现在香港的这个运动呢，其实是危害到了中国的主权。但是呢，实际上这五大诉求呢，其实在目前情况之下都没有真的完全的被政府听进去，而且并且没有任何具体的行动。他认为北京除了在打压香港之外呢，我们从最近的情况上面也可以看到，它是北京对于美国其实在这个香港相关的议题上面，其实也造成很大的威胁。比如说在一些很敏感的一些科技的发展上面呢，这都是有相关牵连的。好，我们先来听听现在这个听证会上面黄之锋的发言。
And the reason which we hope to seek for bipartisan support Hong Kong's democratization should not be the matter of left or right. It should be the matter of right or wrong.
他认为香港议题呢，应该可以获得美国跨国会的支持，因为呢，这是一个对与错的问题。我们现在听到何韵诗的发言。
To speak their minds. which is a result of how the businesses and the government institutions, they have put pressure onto their employees or the people to keep their mouths shut, basically. And so this has a huge impact on the economy because without this freedom of speech, it's very difficult for the economy and also the society to thrive because in a sense, we are already in somewhat of a China situation where people would fear for their safety if they spoke out about their political stance. Just for an example, there has been an unofficial Hong Kong anthem recently that has been written by an anonymous songwriter, and they have opted to keep their anonymity because if they have shown their faces, then most probably they would have been arrested or prosecuted because of on claims of national threats, national security threats. So that's basically the sentiment on the grounds for Hong Kong people.
好，刚刚何韵诗呢就说到这个，他最后说到的呢是这个目前有一个这个香港国歌《愿荣光归香港》的这个作曲者呢，他都不敢透露自己的身份，因为在目前情势之下呢，任何相关的这个发言都会对这个个人带来很强大的人身上面的威胁，这也体现出来现在在香港是完全没有任何这个发言的自由的，而这个整个情势呢，其实也对香港目前的经贸情势造成非常大的影响。好，我们现在来听 Sunny Cheung 的发言。
Autonomy of Hong Kong is already dead, and that's why we urge the U.S. government and other free world countries try to help with Hong Kong with many, like passing the Human Rights and Democracy Act. And you can pass the Global Magnitsky Act in other countries, urge your allies to pass them, to let other free world countries to stand with Hong Kong.
Sunny Cheung 呢，他说美国应该起一个领头羊的角色来通过香港人权与民主法案。相信只要美国有这个动作的话，其实他世界各国也都会体认到这个问题的严重性。
Absolutely no political reforms. This has been echoed by the chief executive when she endlessly has been having these kind of ridiculous press conferences where she says nothing. One thing she does say is, we need to restore the economy. We need to restore economic order, and completely ignoring the structural political issues that is causing a lot of the fundamental unrest. So the other point I wanted to add is that the Hong Kong economy was not delivering the goods to most of the Hong Kong people. The tycoons and probably the triads were doing quite well, but not the majority of Hong Kong people. Hence, we have the housing problem, the education problem, the problem of the elderly with not adequate care, and so forth, and healthcare. So the economy wasn't delivering, and I think what needs to happen, yes, there should be a renewal of the economy, but it's going to be an economy that works for all the people. If I could pick up quickly on Sunny's reference to autonomy. Autonomy, what it means for the Communist Party is we only need to look at the so-called autonomous regions in Tibet and Xinjiang. What autonomy means is no cultural, no language, no history, no right to believe or practice your faith under the Sinicization of religion, which is an oxymoron. And their understanding of autonomy even extends to past this life. As you know, the party is trying to now control reincarnation. So they're also trying to impose a notion of Chineseness. What kind of Chineseness? Well, Xi Jinping's notion of Chineseness under the Chinese dream and what is Chinese. But Hong Kongers are quite complex as a history and language and culture, and I think Hong Kongers are going and are negotiating what it means to be a Hong Konger, whether it includes being a Chinese. Does it mean that? And I think that's what it means to be free, the right to decide and determine in this complex way, what does it mean to be who we are? And that is absolutely antithetical to the DNA of the Communist Party and its notion of autonomy, because it doesn't exist.
好，我们刚刚听到的这个纽约城市大学教授 Sharon Hom 呢，他说，其实自治呢在香港现在是并不是根本是没有实行的，这只是一个空想在空转的一个这个概念。他说呢，林郑其实之前一直在讲，就是我们需要这个赶快要把香港的经贸还有这个社会秩序把它恢复，但是呢，其实如果要说回到香港的经贸的话，其实香港的经贸它所受益者呢，都不是真正住在香港的民众，反而是这些这个走上街头的，他认为跟这个香港警方或者是北京政府互相来帮助的这些黑帮分子呢，他们可能才是这其中受到利益的一个既得利益者。还有很多的，当然就是一些这个政府除了政府以外呢，一些广大的民营机构，他们才是香港的这个经贸体系之下的受益者。所以呢，这个香港民众他们的愤怒是情有可原的。在这个长期的经济的压迫之下呢，他们其实并没有喘息的空间。并说到了这个自治呢，其实在语言、宗教、文化上面呢，这都是应该要有弹性的。但是在目前的习近平的领导底下呢，他们需要推动的是一个他说 Chineseness 哦，就是要当一个中国人。但是一个中国人到底是什么定义呢？像香港这个地方，大家有很多不同的文化背景，其实跟习近平跟北京所认知的中国人的定义，也许是很不一样的。因此，要怎么样达到自治呢？他认为在目前的领导底下呢，这个自治只是空谈。好，我们现在来听 Dan Garrett 的说法。
With regards to autonomy, because the Belt and Road Initiative and the Greater Bay Area initiatives are key to China's development program right now, and because the central government believes that the major impediment to Hong Kong signing on and strongly supporting these programs has been the two systems, has been its democracy, has been its freedoms. It is now looking to restrict those in order to force the SAR government to support these programs. So once again, in closing, I would say there is no substantive autonomy. Thank you.
好，所以 Dan Garrett 他也指出了一些例子哦，他表示在像是“一带一路”啊这些的这些重大的这个政策之下呢，其实我们可以看到主要中国政府还是在这当中占有非常应该说所有的这些决定都是由北京政府来做出，并没有任何跟人民讨论的空间。他认为呢，再说回自治，如果简单来说的话，就是没有自治，目前是并没有执行的。
When you talk about a 12-year-old being arrested, when we hear the idea that someone gets pepper spray sprayed into their wound, when we hear about people's heads being smashed into the concrete and getting concussions, and we hear about the rubber bullets and the tear gas and everything else, and people living in fear on a regular basis for standing up, for speaking their minds. Here in the United States of America, we've believed since Nixon went to China, that the more that China was exposed to our way of life in the United States and to the West, that they would become more like us. We always thought they'd become, if they saw capitalism, they saw democracy, sooner or later they'd become more and more like us. And we now know that that's not at all the case. Whether the hearings we've held about the Uyghurs, or the hearings about Tibet, or now about Hong Kong, we know that they're pulling, we talk about Hong Kong as being one country, two systems. It's really one world with two models, and they're meeting each other in Hong Kong right now. And the question is, which model is going to win? Is it going to be the model that we promote here in the United States with the rule of law and with freedom of expression and with democracy? Or is it going to be authoritarianism and the powerful forces of the government doing whatever they want, whatever way they want? They're meeting right there, and you're right in the middle of that challenge right now, so we're so grateful to all of you. So I'm concerned about the timing of things right now. We're pushing to get this bill passed here in the Congress, but right now we've got, I think you talked about it, Joshua, the National Day in China is coming up on October 1st. And I'm concerned about what mainland China's actions are going to be in relation to that, and whether there'll be more violence will result as they try to flex their authority. And I'd like to hear each of you talk about that. And the second thing I'm concerned about are the local elections coming up in November. And I want to hear from you about whether you believe that there's an opportunity here for the people of Hong Kong to express themselves, or is the mainland trying to subvert that by not permitting certain candidates to run and not giving them permission to run, which is a foreign idea to us here in the United States.
我们现在听到的呢是美国众议员这个民主党的代表 Tom Suki， 他说呢，他现在就是他刚做了一个简短的回顾，并且说到他现在的问题呢，主要他想要问这个现场的这些目击者就是第一个。这个时间上面的问题，因为他知道这个中国的国庆日10月1号很快就要到了，在这之前呢，他想问目前的这些目击者，大家认为这之前会有什么样子的中国政府的行动吗？第二个呢，就是在11月的时候，香港会有一个这个选举，他想要知道当众这个在现场的这几位代表认为这个香港民众在这个选举是不是真的有机会可以选出他们的这个代表人，还是会受到一些北京的压力？以下是黄之锋的回答。
We're strongly aware on how Carrie Lam, the leader of Hong Kong, openly declared that she is considering to impose emergency ordinance in Hong Kong to stop the protests. Emergency ordinance is the colonial era law, similar as martial law. It authorized the power for Chief Executive of Hong Kong to shut down the internet, cut the public transport, and even cut the air traffic. We all know that political crisis must solve by political system reform. That's the reason we urge Beijing not to handpick the leader. Please let us enjoy the right of free election. But they just conduct and consider to use this kind of martial law before or after the Chinese National Day. I think that's the reason not only people defense on human rights must care about, even businessmen that focus on and enjoying economic freedom and open business environment. They should aware on how Hong Kong is not only on the brink of bloodshed, it's also under the threat of those martial law and white terror. So I really hope to have bipartisan support to pass the Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act. After explaining what's happening before after Chinese National Day, the upcoming district council elections scheduled on 24th of November, with the track record of how Beijing unseat democratically elected lawmaker including Nathan Law and Agnes Chow, the one who hoped to run for office on early last year. We strongly expect and aware that Beijing will still keep its hardline policy to Hong Kong and to block or bar youngsters to run for office. As the one who engaged in street activism, I also hope the voice of young generation could be heard inside the institution. And at the same time, I'm also will make certain announcement in the late September or early October for myself will run for office on the district council or not. If Beijing government ban me to run for office, they need to pay the price on Hong Kong protests and also in the international communities.
So in Hong Kong, there are many pan-democratics and many pro-Beijing folks. Is there a chance that could change, that dynamic could change because of the protests that are going on?
In district council, we have 452 seats, and more than 75% of the seats are almostly dominated by pro-Beijing camp. And on 24th of November, we hope pro-democratic camp can get a good turnout to show the power of people.
So I just want to, emphasize the timing coming up. October 1st and November 24th are big days that could have a big impact on what Beijing is doing and what is happening from the people. And it could be a flashpoint. We have to be very conscious of that. Denise, do you want to go ahead?
Yes, personally, I don't feel that October 1st would be something to stop the people from going onto the streets, as the sentiment is still very, very determined and very strong among all walks of life. And so this fight has been able to sustain itself because of this sort of creativity and the flexibility of the people. And so I believe that without a sincere answer or solution from the government, the people won't be backing down. And so on the side of how the communist government, they would be suppressing us on the even escalating level, I don't think, no, personally, I feel that there are probably already Chinese police among the Hong Kong police force. There have been several occasions where the police commanders have been heard talking in Mandarin to their officers. So, on this note, I believe that Hong Kong people are already facing this sort of infiltration of the Chinese police into the Hong Kong police force. So,
are you concerned about it escalating around National Day?
Well, I mean, it's already on a daily basis of this sort of escalation where the police are patrolling the streets, people are arrested, just for being young, really. So I think we are already at that stage. And so, that is why we call for the U.S. Congress and also international communities to monitor this regime, that is the Xi Jinping regime, because we in Hong Kong, we are protecting these values that we all believe in, and if we fail, then what knows what would happen to the world and to the next stage.
Thank you. Sunny?
Yes. Wait, thank you for your question. Personally, I think on the National Day, actually, there will be more escalation on the movement. And because I know that the Chinese authority must want the Hong Kong people to try to respect the National Day. But on the other hand, Hong Kong protesters, they also know that it's important to have some symbolic movement on the National Day. And that's why there will be some escalation of the movement. But I doubt if the Chinese government, they dare to use the emergency law or send out the PLA to come to Hong Kong. Because currently, China relies on Hong Kong very much. Many foreign investment from China are still coming from Hong Kong. And that's why if they deploy the PLA or try to use emergency law to crack down on Hong Kong protesters, I think this is not very promising for Hong Kong people and for the Beijing government. And Beijing government will not do something like that, I feel.
Sharon, if you could talk about the elections a little bit also.
I think a couple of things I want is really important that hasn't been raised. In addition to the question of infiltration and use of decoys, last August 2018, the People's Daily announced the establishment of the Greater Bay Area Police Cooperation Mechanism among Guangdong, Hong Kong, and Macau. Related to and part of this mechanism, the Guangdong Public Security Department conducted training of key Hong Kong police personnel in Guangdong. This has been followed up on. And one of the questions I think is important to press, either through the UN systems, is to raise the question of really what kind of training? I am pretty sure that the training did not include international standards on appropriate use of force, and the special procedures of the UN special experts just last week issued a joint statement about concern and also raising these questions of the need to make the police, the Hong Kong police, there are very sophisticated, detailed standards on the use of force, that you're supposed to de-escalate, not escalate, you're supposed to reduce harm, not create harm, and that there is a whole range of police crowd control mechanisms, and they're supposed to choose according to proportionality. So I wanted to just emphasize that. On the timing of National Day, I think we can't lose sight of the fact that Xi Jinping is not as powerful as we may think, or as he would like us to think. And that it is true that with the consolidation of power, et cetera, and his no-term limit now, both of the key positions, the fact is, what you're getting to see, the tea leaves, if you look a little more closely, is that the party leaders inside are not happy with the way that Xi Jinping has, quote, handled the Hong Kong situation. And how do we know this? We know this because Carrie Lam, the chief executive, on a Monday, I believe, said, no withdrawal, no, et cetera, I withdrew it, no formal. 2 days later, that kind of disingenuous explanation, I have heard the Hong Kong people. For goodness sakes, it's been 3 months. If you can't hear 2 million, 3 million people, why in 2 days did she suddenly say, I will now formally? So Xi Jinping is actually in a lose-lose situation. It's a no-win situation. He's stuck between the hardliners, who I am pretty much concerned about, are pushing for military force, because he has already shown he's failed. Deng Xiaoping took 2 months, shut down the whole 89 student and the democracy and free trade union movement. We are now in the 3rd month, so under the party's time frame on how you can handle these mass disputes, he has failed. So he's in a pretty dicey situation. October 1st, this is not any anniversary. This is the 70th anniversary. So they have invested a year's worth of enormous investment in film festival, special documentaries made. They have said that no Chinese documentaries in the Chinese TV recently, they have to show the history and etc. There's an enormous amount of investment to keep the legitimacy and have a wonderful birthday celebration for the country. So he's stuck. It can't look bad. On the other hand, he's stuck between the hardliners and the others who are saying, there's got to be a way to handle this, not the way you're doing it, because now we look terrible. Now we look like the thugs we are. And so I think that is what we should be monitoring are the messages. And just last week, a very strange editorial appeared in 求是, which, as you know, is one of the major party organs. And in 求是, the editorial pointed out something very strange. It said, whether a country's political, this is our translation, sorry. Whether a country's political system is democratic and effective, one needs to mainly look at whether the country's leadership ranks can rotate or alternate, BNT, in accordance with the law in an orderly fashion. What does this mean? We don't know, because just the fact that the Constitution eliminated the term limits for the top office doesn't mean he'll stay. So I think there are some other wild cards that are on the table that we need to keep an eye on in terms of how the US government can think about the options and policy options. Of course, we support the legislative initiatives. This is very important, but I think there's something much bigger underway in terms of the politics in Beijing that will absolutely have an impact on the decisions that will be made pre-October 1st and after.
Thank you. Dan, I've taken up too much time. I'm going to move on to.
We'll let Dan.
You want to let Dan go?
好，现在赶快来做一下回顾哦。所以基本上呢，问题就是问到了10月1号和这个11月24号的这个选举哦。在目前大家觉得有什么样子的影响，或是可能会发生的情况？黄之锋他表示呢，在10月1号之前哦，他认为这些尤其是在11月24号，大家主要要注意的呢，就是他认为北京还是会推出北京他们核准的人选，他相信这个是大家都预期的，而且相信也不会改变的。他认为呢，需要注意的就是他想要参选。那如果在目前的情况之下，他不被他的参选的过程受到打压的话呢，这就是一个非常重要的一个讯息。而且他也说到，现在目前在这个立法会当中的50%以上，在这个246个席位当中，50%以上都是亲北京的这个代表人。他希望在下一次的这个选举呢，10月24号的时候会有所改变。那接下来这个何韵诗呢，他就表示10月1号之前呢，会不会有什么重大改变？他认为他并没有特别的这个感受，因为呢被问到了这个其实所有的香港人不想要的行为，还有这个所有的这个压制呢，其实在现在来说呢，已经每天都在进行当中了。所以他认为在10月1号之前，香港人不会退缩，那北京相信也不会有特别大的动作。他认为呢，这个唯一可以停止这个民众的运动呢，就是北京有一个非常真诚并且有诚意的跟香港民众对话，但目前情况看起来呢，似乎是不太可能。他也说到了这个香港警察是不是已经受到了很多的渗入，那这个如果我们就说的是香港人呢，我们不继续抗争的话，谁知道之后会变成怎么样？那就说到了这个 Sunny Cheung， 香港大学的这个事务代表团的这个发言人呢，他就说，他认为在10月1号之前呢，他认为，他则是认为在10月1号之前呢，这个抗争应该是会上升，因为香港人知道10月1号是一个有多重大意义的一个日子。就说到了这个，他认为，在10月1号之前呢，这个人民解放军是不是会进驻香港呢？他认为这个感觉上是不太可能，因为目前呢还是有很多外国企业在香港，而且呢，中国主要的外国企业都还是来自香港，因此保持当地的一个这个稳定性呢，其实 北京他们应该也是会权衡的。就说到了这个，不过呢，人民解放军他们可能会想要动用这个紧急法案来进入香港，不过这个在10月1号之前，他觉得可能性不是很大。纽约城市大学的教授 Sharon Hom 呢，他就说，除了以上说的这些问题呢，他就说到了这个关于被渗入的这个议题哦。他说，去年的8月的时候呢，其实在广东、香港还有澳门都有非常多的这个所谓的训练哦。那这个训练呢，这个到底在训练什么呢？为什么要很多这个香港的警方到广东接受训练呢？他认为这个当中其实是有很多的这个内容大家值得去探讨的，因为呢，在香港的这个警方一连串的这个暴力的这个等于手段呢，其实他认为是很值得质疑的，因为香港的警方其实是有史以来都是一直非常有非常缜密的一套执法的这个 protocol 的这个方针哦，这当中呢就非常仔细的来描述在什么样的情况应该用什么样子的武力，在什么样的情况之下是不是应该要以比较大的武力去面对抗争，或是要怎么样的和平来解决问题，这其实当中都是受到很这个常年的训练的。所以在这次的这个活动当中，警察扮演的角色呢，他认为跟去年8月在这广东的训练可能是有非常紧密的关系。再来就讲到了10月1号，他认为其实习近平的这个权力呢，并没有我们大家想象的这么大。他认为呢，从香港事情可以看得出来，在这个共产党内呢，他们其实有很多不同分歧的声音。他并且把这次的香港事件跟89年的事件来做个比较。他认为当时呢，邓小平花了2个月的时间来把这整个学生的运动把它让它结束。那以这样子的一个标准来看呢，现在习近平他已经是一个失败的一个领导者了，并且认为呢，在这个目前这个中国的这个政党共产党当中的这个政权的统合之下呢，习近平他也许他的实权并不像大家想象这么多。虽然现在修法是可以这个终身制，但他不认为这是绝对的。因此呢，在这个10月1号中国的生日国庆日之前，他认为大家主要关注的呢，其实是他认为很明确的动作机会不大，但是大家需要注意的呢，就是一些比较小的一些讯息，比如说像是一些这个官媒他们所散发出来的讯息，这个求实呢之前就说出来了，这个 leader ranks can rotate， 就是说这个领导者呢，他们的这个层级呢，其实是可以在这当中是有弹性的。那他认为其实这当中呢，都是非常的有文章可以做的，可以看得出来，其实这个党内呢，大部分的声音是很不支持习近平在这个香港问题上面的处理，认为从这个林郑他对于这个逃犯法的这个最后的撤回呢，其实跟着他在撤回之前2天的说法是完全矛盾的，所以他认为这也是体现出来这个中国北京他们当局的党内的矛盾。因此10月1号大家更要注意的呢，就是在中国北京发出来的任何的消息，这其中呢都可能跟香港未来的这个如何发展这个运动会有接受到怎么样子的压力，或者是有没有一些契机呢？其实他认为这当中是很有文章可做的。好，我们现在再来听这个共和党的代表。共和党的代表 Chris Smith， 众议院的共和党代表，他的发言。
More than 1,500 Hong Kong were arrested in the past 3 months. More than 200 of them were prosecuted already. I'm among one of them, and we're also aware on some of those activists were already detained inside prison before any trial start. And that's the sugar-coated rule of law and the Hong Kong-style legal system under the pressure of Beijing. I've been arrested and prosecuted with the charges of unauthorized assembly. Even I've the experience to be jailed for around 120 days, but the price I pay is just a small piece of cake. Because lots of our teammates, from my understanding, More than 100 of them face the riot charges, might be locked up in prison for more than 10 years. 5 years ago, during the umbrella movement, we were just arrested by an unlawful assembly, need to face maybe months or 1 to 2 years in jail. But now, youngsters at the age of 15, they should enjoy the summer holiday. They should spend more time in the summer vacation with their friends and family. But now they are the one being prosecuted and need to face the trial, and maybe from 15 or 16 at the age, the golden year for themselves, might be already need to be locked up in prison. And also we have activist Edward Leung, who fight for Hong Kong's freedom, already being locked up in prison, need to face 6 years in prison. Apart from the massive arrest and prosecution, it seems to be the tactics for Beijing to silence our voice. But with how our movement still keep our momentum, just like 2 weeks ago, more than 200,000 Hong Kongers marched towards U.S. consulate in Hong Kong, urged to pass the bill and to show the global solidarity. We're also aware that the cabinet of chief executive, which means member from the executive council, last week openly declared that Hong Kong's chief executive enjoy the right to appoint any secret police. Secret police is not the terms created by activists or created by journalists. It is the terms written in the current ordinance and regulation. It could authorize the power for Hong Kong chief executive to appoint anyone, no matter they live in Hong Kong, they live in mainland, or they have within any kind of background. They can be appointed to be the Hong Kong police force and continue to use life-threatening force to crack down on our protests. And that's the white terror and why all of us will describe Hong Kong is a police state.
I would like to add to the fact that among those who have been arrested and charged for riot, a lot of them have been on the sites, but they have not been in the front lines. They were just near the front lines, and some of them have been first aiders who have been helping other people, getting up and getting away from the sites, social workers, and of course the legislators who have been arrested. They were not charged for riot, but that is something that is shocking to the Hong Kong people, to have these legislators arrested. And so on top of that, I would like to add that the situation that is in Hong Kong, it is spreading into the international world, where this communist tactic of silencing people with fear and also with money, it's everywhere, really. It's not only in Hong Kong. As I said just now, there have been incidents in Australia where government institutions, they have kept away from me and other Chinese artists for fear of being associated with us. And also in Canada, where Hong Kong activists have been banned from a gay pride, because of security concerns, so they say. And so the fact that is the communist government, they use this sort of the money where the brands and businesses, they would be adding this sort of suppression onto their employees and other people, and then everyone would be just silencing themselves. So this also is causing a lot of fear among Hong Kongers, and that is why this movement has been largely anonymous, because we know that for a fact, if we show our faces, then we would be arrested and prosecuted for riot or unlawful assembly.
I would like to supplement what Denise has just mentioned about the problematic law. Actually, the Human Rights Council of the United Nations has decried the Public Order Ordinance, which is a colonial law in Hong Kong. The Department of Justice and police force in Hong Kong, they can use this Public Order Ordinance to prosecute those protesters with a very easy way. That means that once if the DOJ, the Department of Justice, or the police force, they try to use the Public Order Ordinance to prosecute the protester, and then actually it's very difficult for them to be not sued as guilty. And that's why this law should be abolished by the government, And we urge that actually the international society should also be aware about this law. And apart from that, I had a personal experience that a kid I had a tutorial kid, and then he was arrested in one of the political disputes around the confrontation around during the movement. And that kid was, when that kid was arrested, and he immediately asked the police officer to ask him, can he call his lawyer? And the police officer, they told him that, of course you can't, because I want to torture you, because I want to make you suffer. And these police officers, they said something like that to a kid who is just under 18. And this is a real situation in Hong Kong. That's why many people are very frustrated and angry about the police brutality problem.
The prosecutions is related to not only the imposition of the public order, but ordinance. It has to be an unlawful assembly. So the way in which the notice of no objection process contributes to that, that's the tool. And the tool is Hong Kongers then face this ridiculous situation where they have to have the police deny the application for a notice of no objection, file for a group for a peaceful assembly that is to protest police violence. So you have the police denying the notice of no assembly, therefore making it an unlawful assembly, for an assembly that is to protest police violence. So that's really important that through this kind of misuse of that process, they are really violating international standards for peaceful assembly by imposing this kind of unduly restrictive administrative procedure. The police, under this procedure, then can act rampantly as both enforcement, prosecutor, because they're naming this, saying this is a riot. But a riot is a legal process. It's for the court to look at the evidence. It's for the court to see if this person engaged in illegal behavior and violent, etc. So right now, the police are acting as enforcement, prosecution, and executioner of orders. And that is part of the problem with looking at when we talk about and on top of that, we have politicized decision-making by the prosecution. This was also noted by independent UN experts maybe 2 years ago, saying that they were concerned about a potential pattern of politicized decisions that were being made and who to prosecute and who to pursue.
好，我现在来赶快做一下这个回顾哦。所以这个刚刚的问题呢，我相信它主要是问到了现在香港大家最重视的议题，就是警察是不是有过度使用武力？这当中是不是有很多不合乎当地法律的部分？而黄之锋他是说呢，现在大概有200多人在这个拘禁当中，在这个活动当中被逮捕。那很多人他们的这个刑责呢，可能是面临了10年以上的刑责，而他就说到了，这其实在这个比例上来讲呢，是完全不 make sense， 完全不合理的。像是他刚刚说的12岁的孩子或是15岁的孩子，他们现在尤其在过去这个暑假应该是要享受暑假的，但是呢，却是因为一些很和平的抗争。被警察抓了起来，他认为这当中我们可以看到，在这个前几个礼拜，大概有20万的港人到了美国大使馆面前，要求美国可以赶快来通过这个香港人权与民主法案的原因就是在此，就说到了这个便衣警察还有这个 secret police 秘密的警察，他认为在这个警察他们的身份不明，在这个人群当中可以任意的执法。而且并没有表明身份的情况之下呢，他认为现在香港已经变成了一个 police state， 就是意思就是说，整个香港呢已经是由警察来控制的一个城市了。那这个何韵诗呢，他就表示，其实很多的这些被逮捕的这些民众呢，他们并没有，实际上并没有做出暴力的行为，当然。有一些的这个抗议者，他们的确，大家这个记者镜头拍到，的确是有暴力行为，但是有很大一部分人呢， 他们其实是和平抗争的，他们有的时候只是在帮助其他的抗争者不要受伤，但是就被警察逮捕了。在目前的这个手法当中呢，是非常有策略的，就是要让香港人安静。其中使用的呢，除了在这个经贸上面的压制之外呢，还有就是使用这个恐怖的这个氛围，让香港人们不敢再出声。而这当中呢，他就说到他自己的例子，比如说在澳洲，他自己本身还有一些的这个对于这个香港民主还有香港运动发声的人呢，就被禁止到澳洲进行表演。那加拿大也是如此。他说，所以在这样的情势之下呢，为什么香港人不敢把脸露出来呢？就是因为这样，因为一旦你只要露脸了，一旦大家知道你的身份的话呢，不管你是不是在这个上街游行是不是有违反法律，不管是不是有这样的情况，都会被逮捕。这就是香港人目前非常害怕的一件事情。那这个大专国际事务代表 Sunny 呢，他就说，其实大家要注意到的还有呢，就是这个香港有这个 colonial law 这个殖民法，在这当中呢，这个 DOJ 就是香港的这个法治执法单位呢，他们其实是有一些比较灰色地带、模棱两可的一些条规，可以来逮捕当地的这个抗议的民众。他就说到了一个例子，就是他一个家教的一个孩子哦，他当时在街上示威游行被警察逮捕之后呢，他要求有这个法律的协助，他想要打电话给他的律师，那警察呢就跟他说不行，因为我就是想要折磨你，这是他自己说的例子，这当然是没有经过证实，不过他说这就是目前在这个街上每天抗议的香港人民他们需要抗衡的这些警察的暴力的情况的例子当中的其中一个。而纽约城市大学的这个教授 Sharon Hom 呢，他就说其实这个警察misuse force 他们没有依照这个全世界认可的条规，大家在这个对于和平抗争是有很多的关于警察执法的条规，但这次在这个香港运动上面呢，可以看得出来，香港的港警是完全没有在乎，也没有在配合这些条规的。虽然说香港是一个民主法治的，不能说民主，是一个法治的一个城市。他说到，在现在的情况呢，香港警察扮演了3个角色，一个是 enforcement， 一个是 prosecutor， 一个是 executor。enforcement 呢，是一个执法者嘛。那 prosecutor 呢，他说香港的警察现在就把这个香港运动呢定位是一个暴动。那为什么香港警察有这样的权利呢？如果要把这个活动定位是暴动的话呢，这应该是要经过一个法律的程序，所以香港警察其实并没有这样子的实权可以来做这样子的定论。所以在现在的情况之下，看出来香港警察他们还有这样子的一个等于是在这个执法的一个角色哦。还有 execution 呢，就是他们是实际的要在这个街头执行他们的这个任务，所以这个3个加起来呢，就给香港的警察非常大的权力。而他认为呢，在这当中呢，很明显的这个是受到了政治上的影响。而在现在很多联合国讨论上面呢，其实对于警察行动，在警察暴力之底下呢，是不是背后是有政治的这个驱动和这个动力呢？其实也是一个全世界非常关注的议题，而香港这次就是一个很好的例子。好，我们现在来回到这个会议的这个现场，这是由 Mr. McAdam 的发言。
Some of those sanctuaries and foundations of freedom, as we've seen in the United States and we also see in Hong Kong, the freedom of democracy and government through elections, the freedom of academia and for ideas to thrive in an academic system, the economic freedom for individuals and economic competition, and rule of law where every individual is treated fairly and equally under the law, and human rights are protected. So my concern, what I'd love for you to comment on, is where we go from here, and with some very troubling signs on the horizon. So I'd like you to comment on Mr. Wong, and let me commend all of you who are examples and the founders of freedom, whose names I hope will be remembered 232 years from now in the struggle for freedom in Hong Kong. But Mr. Wong, Ms. Ho, Mr. Cheung, and Ms. Hom for your efforts and struggles for Hong Kong. I'd love for you to comment on, first of all, Mr. Wong, the struggle in elections for individuals to step forward. Over the last several years, the government has, as you referenced, has repeatedly rejected the nomination of candidates running for political office who have supported or been affiliated with self-determination. What challenges does that impose today and going forward for individuals who are willing to put themselves and their names forward? Taking that same look at the foundations of freedom of thought to academia, what support do academic institutions give to students as they raise their voices in support of intellectual freedom and human rights? And also to the economy and free economy as businesses. Ms. Ho, I believe, as you spoke about some of the concerns with Cathay Pacific and efforts that undermine individuality and freedom of thought in the marketplace of ideas and in the workplace. What is happening in these respective spheres and foundations of democracy, and how can we best support freedom of thought?
So just let me explain what's on the mind of the young generation. In the past few years after the end of umbrella movement, lots of youngsters, no matter they uphold different kind of political belief, they still have the awareness and consensus. They hope their voice can be heard inside this institution. Apart from talk to the street, joining protests, it's also significant for us for push forward political system and election reform. Unfortunately, with those political censorship, even I'm considering to run for office, and I will make the formal announcement on late of September or early October. I'm still aware that how Beijing hope to bar the whole generation of youngsters to enter the institution. But it's lucky that with the determination and courage of Hong Kongers, they just turned the whole generation of youngsters to be dissident. And not only the generation of baby boomers, even the generation of Gen X and millennials, all they joined the fight with solidarity and unity. So I would just make it clear, Hong Kong is not only suffering from the political crisis, we are also suffering from the humanitarian crisis, especially how Hong Kong police force just hardline suppress on us. No matter the sexual harassment experienced by young lady arrested, or how injured protester would be pulled down from the ambulance by riot police directly, or how arrested person is really difficult for them and being refused to contact lawyer or even seek for any kind of medical treatment. I think this kind of hardline suppression will just turn hold of my generation and the generation younger than me, no matter on the street or get inside the institution, we will keep on together with this uphill battle, and we hope the U.S. Congress can stand with Hong Kong.
I'll go. So yes, on the cultural side, and also on the freedom of thought side of things, it has been 90% of it probably has been eroded, where at least the whole show business has been is in the control of the communist government. Me, along with just a very small handful of actors and singers, have spoken up for these movements, but the rest of the celebrities, they have kept their silence, and they have been forced into participating in these support campaigns on social media of, oh, I support the Hong Kong police, or I am a protector of the national flag campaigns, where they have to voice out their support to the Chinese government, or else they would be prosecuted, censored, like people like us. So businesses, of course, they have been pressured also into obstructing these freedoms of Hong Kongers, namely MTR, our subway system. They have closed down stations in times of protest, therefore making it very easy for the police to arrest people, and also very difficult for the people to leave the sites. And that was a result of I believe it was an article that was in the People's Daily, the state newspaper, where they have named the MTR corporation, saying that they have been helping the people. So I do think that in a free society, these businesses and corporations, they do have a obligation, a social responsibility to keep up this kind of integrity, to at least to safeguard our freedoms, which they have failed to do so. And like right now, we do not have much solutions to these problems because aside of the people protesting, these businesses, they are exercising their suppression onto their people. So we hope that this Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act, with these sanctions on the government officials, and hopefully, if this could extend to these corporations who have been violating the basic law, the freedom of speech and of the people, hopefully that this would be monitoring the businesses and also, of course, the government institutions in Hong Kong.
From the academic perspective, I believe we need to have a correct understanding on China first. Because in 1989, when Professor Fukuyama famously declared that this is the end of the history because he believed democracy is the ultimate form of human government, and all the ideology, communism, or other authoritarianism will have no place in the coming world. But apparently, 2 decades after he gave his speech, he's wrong. And we cannot still using the mindset of the old times that we should continue the engagement policy towards China. We should abandon the engagement policy and try to use a more assertive way, try to understand China. Because in the campus, we know that Chinese government, they try to establish a lot of Confucius Institute around the world. And by that Confucius Institute, they are creating propaganda, try to influence the youth in other countries, including your kids. And this is not reasonable. Canada government last year, they started to shut down some of the Confucius Institutes. And I believe actually this is a global fight, because when we uphold the academic freedom and freedom of speech in the campus, the Chinese government apparently, they do not agree on that. And when many Hong Kong people over the past few months, they support the movement in Hong Kong, and they have organized a lot of rallies across the globe in Australia, in UK, in US. They have received a lot of threatening letters, and they are being followed. Their home address are being posted on those social medias. And that's why we need all the few countries, including US, to support Hong Kong people in the campus and to uphold the to support the academic freedom in the long run. Thank you.
I think the question that all of this also is related to is China's clear exercise of soft, hard, and sharp power. And so I want to say a couple of things on the academic front. In the US, we have over 300,000 Chinese students from the mainland, and also students elsewhere. I think Joshua saw recently close up and personal when he spoke at Columbia what the actions of the students are. I'm not raising it to think that there's an easy answer, but I do think that we must be thinking about how do we, and I use it for lack of a better word, engage the fact that we're welcoming students into U.S. institutions. I teach a human rights course at NYU as well, and I had some mainlanders who did not want to take my course because they're afraid to take the course, because if they take the course, other people were reporting on who took the course by Sharon, human rights in China director. And then even recently, if I had students in the class as observers or whatever from the mainland, so I'm saying that the censorship is on mainland students as well. So we do have them protesting, but we also have to recognize they are all under surveillance with families back home. I really want to echo Denise's call to bring in the role of the companies, and in particular, as the Protect Hong Kong Act moves forward in discussions, and I know that it's going through a legislative process, I think it would be really good to think about and address the question of the US companies, because not only will the denial of export licenses really address the issue, it will address the issue of no longer being complicit, but will it address the issue of the actual category of lethal and non-lethal materials? And I wanted to point out that China hosts the China International Exhibition on Police Equipment every 2 years. The next one, they all held in Beijing, will be held on May 12th to the 15th. That's a really important date. And they sell, and they have thousands of exhibitors from all over the world and companies. And in the past, we have been monitoring many US companies have gone to exhibit and sell, and then afterwards report very proudly on the are we singing? Okay, not yet, right? Okay, not yet, not singing yet. But they've also reported on the millions of dollars of contracts that they were able to secure in Beijing. So I think one thought might be to, aside from or in addition to export licenses, what about technology transfers? What about collaboration? What about them training the Chinese partner companies? What are the other things that need to be in place so that, because China has been named an economic competitor for the US, it's not an even playing field. They're an economic competitor where the SOEs are dominating the economy. You are not investing in all the US companies, but China is investing in all the key industries, and that is technology, AI, the military sector, financial services, and then the ICT sector, which is completely state-owned enterprise in terms of the key ICT. So I want to ask one final thought for what can be done going forward. Next year on the Human Rights Council, at the end of this year, China rotates off, and according to the rules, can't come back on in 2020. I think that is the year in which the US government, I know you have left the council for various analyses of its effectiveness, but that does not take away the fact that the US is still viewed as a leading player among all the member states in the council. You can exercise your role as an observer. You can also exercise your very influential role in working with other democratic governments to issue joint statements, joint initiatives, and joint. So I think 2020 is particularly important, and in particular, that is the year to push, because you're also on the NGO committee of ECOSOC. That is the year to support and push for the reforms that are needed to allow independent civil society groups to be able to participate. As you know, my organization had applied for ECOSOC status, and over the last 30 years, and both times you can't make it out of the NGO committee because China just looks at us and goes, and that's it. It's end of story. So I think it's very important that the US can raise the issues, not only as an observer in Human Rights Council, but in the General Assembly. And I know you're quite active on the 3rd and 5th committees. That's where I think it's really important to exercise leadership. 2020 is the year you can push, because China will be there with its client states and threatening everybody else to support them while they're not there. But the point is, they won't have a vote. So I think it's a good year to get some traction.
好的，刚才我们听到的呢是这个由Utah 的这个民主党的众议员 Ben McAdam 他的这个问题哦，他主要就是问到在这次活动当中，对于这个香港人权有什么样子的影响，还有对于这个思想自由上面呢，在这个活动当中，大家有什么样子的反馈可以给美国，让他们国会知道可以怎么样子来帮助香港的民众，还有这些抗议的群体哦。那黄之锋他就表示呢。他认为这个普选是非常重要的。他认为这个香港的选举制度呢是一定需要有进行这个结构性的改革。他认为他就又说到他自己在这个9月底10月初的时候呢，他应该会 选择要来参加选举，但是呢，他也表示在这个过程当中是不断受到北京的打压。他认为其实现在呢，这个香港的民众不仅仅是这个最年轻的这些年轻人哦，这个再往上一级的，可能这个20-30岁的人，他们也都对于他们的这个人权权益是有非常大的认知，并且知道在目前情势之下呢，他们是慢慢流失香港的这个定位。所以他认为香港的人权呢，现在已经是到了一个这个交叉口，是一个 crisis， 他这么样子来描述的。他认为现在还是有很多来自于北京的很明显的打压。他希望呢。这是有点重复他之前的说法，就当然就是他一贯的主张了。他认为，美国的国会呢一定需要赶快来通过香港人权与民主法案，这样才可以实际上的来帮助香港这次的抗争。那这个何韵诗呢就说到了文化上面的这个相关议题了。他说到思想自由上面呢，其实北京它在这个尤其是娱乐产业上面是有非常大的影响。现在基本上是没有任何的艺人是敢站出来为香港的民主发声的。这个香港的这些艺人呢，他们或者是任何在这个华文的这个演艺圈当中的艺人呢，他们只能选择跟香港警察站在一起，并且是当5星旗的这个后盾，才有可能在北京的控制之下呢，来继续的等于是生存下去哦，才有继续有这个演艺生涯哦。他并说到了像是中国的官媒《人民日报》呢，就把一些来帮助所谓的帮助这个在香港的抗议者的一些商店呢，都把它一个一个名字的列出来。所以在这上面呢，也可以看得出来，香港的这次活动呢，其实不仅仅是这个走上街的民众，甚至是这个周边的商业活动呢，也是受到北京紧密的关注，并且呢，在一些模棱两可灰色地带的时候呢，也会给予非常严重的打压。他认为现在的目前的问题呢，是没有任何的解决的。实际解决非常具体的可以一针见血的解决方式。他认为这是一个长期的抗战，并且就说到了基本法呢其实还是十分重要的，大家在这次的抗争当中呢还是需要花很多时间来这个回归到这个基本法，并且呢就说到了这个 Sunny Cheung 呢，他就说到一个这个学者的角度来看呢，其实孔子学院呢是在这个是北京要在中国以外来散布宣传这个中国所谓中国思想的一个方式。而现在呢，他认为这个全世界都应该要对这个学院呢要更加的提防。虽然现在已经开始有第一波的撤这个学院的这个博士跟这个态度但是呢，他认为这未来还是大家需要很警戒的。因为他认为呢，这个支持民主活动呢，这是一个非常长的一个抗战过程。那孔子学院呢，是完全是会淹没他们的努力。那就回到了现在在说话的这位 Sharon Hom，纽约城市大学的这个教授呢，他就说到，要如何把这个中国在外的留学生在这个活动议题上面让他们加入呢，其实也是一个大家很值得思考的一个议题哦。因为很多的这个中国大陆的学生呢，其实都不敢拿他的课，因为呢，他的这个对于民主的立场是十分的鲜明哦。所以这些学生如果一旦是拿了他的课的话呢，其实基本上都会有人把他们记录下来。所以这也可以看得出来，北京在这个控制上呢，其实他们的这个爪子、他们的手臂是伸得非常非常的长的。而他就说到要怎么样把这些公司把它带回来香港呢？这个就要等于是互相呼应这个何韵诗的这个对于这个商业的这个说法。他认为其实说到这个经济还有这个商业活动呢，大家也要关注到中国对于美国企业的投资，尤其他认为大家十分要注意的就是明年5月12号到15号的每2年会举办一次的警用武器展。这个当中呢，其实有很多的美国公司会来参展，那其中呢也有很多中国上金钱的这个援助，在不管是人工智能、军用或是 ICT 上面呢，中国在美国的公司里面都投注非常大的资金，因此这是不是会也进一步的来帮助 像是香港的警察或是人民解放军在这个香港用这个非法的武力呢，他认为除了是硬体上的话呢，软体上面的这个训练，相信呢也是大家很值得关注的。那我们现在赶快来听他现在的发言。
When they participate in the demonstrations in Hong Kong, million people, their parents back home on the mainland will get a knock on the door and a visit from the public security saying, your daughter, your son is in those marches, tell them to stop. So they're both in Hong Kong, mainlanders in Hong Kong, are very it's not just what you see in the media of them fighting and protesting and fighting. There are Hong Kongers who support and are inspired by. That's what Beijing is afraid of. They're afraid. That's why they first censored everything, and then suddenly they realize, oh my gosh, we can't censor it. Everybody actually has those illegal VPNs, and they are getting the information. So then they started doing the disinformation because the blackout didn't work, so they started the disinformation. The other point is that there are mainlanders from the beginning in June who have expressed support for the Hong Kong democracy movement online. What has happened to them? Arrested, detained, threatened, intimidated, etc. So notwithstanding the full force of an authoritarian police state, they're not able to shut it down. And Mr. King, they're not able to tell mainlanders who do see what they're seeing and who are not afraid and are willing to also pay the price to support Hong Kong's movement because they understand that if Hong Kongers can hold the line, then the mainlanders who also want democracy and freedom can also have a chance. But Hong Kongers are the front line.
Well, I want to join my colleagues in thanking you all. It's hard for us to conceive of the courage that it takes. There's no doubt that in this room today is someone reporting to Beijing about each of your testimony.
Right. That's right.
And
so please make sure we're stated properly. I don't want any misquotes.
And I want to thank you for your courage to speak the truth. And hopefully we will be able to pass some of this legislation to make it clear to the regime in Beijing that democracy is an important value and that we're just not going to pay lip service to it. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you very much, Senator Daines.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank this panel for coming before this commission, providing some perspective and expertise on this important and very timely topic. As many of you know, I spent more than 5 years living in Guangzhou and part of that time in Hong Kong. Back in the 1990s when I was in the private sector, raising a family. In fact, we have 4 children. Our 2 youngest children were both born in Hong Kong. I'm deeply concerned with the ongoing erosion of autonomy and human rights in the region, and I will tell you I stand with the citizens of Hong Kong. In fact, just this past month, I helped lead a legislative exchange between the U.S. and 6 LegCo leaders who came to my home state of Montana. This event was important to better understand the situation in Hong Kong and identifying what some of the key issues were and have a very open and free exchange. As the leader of the free world, we, the United States, and the entire world must continue to support the autonomy and the freedoms of Hong Kong. It is one country, 2 systems. I was in Hong Kong on June 30th, 1997, and saw the Union Jack come down for the last time. The Hong Kong central government needs to work with protesters to accept the demands put forward by the citizens of the country, and the use of excessive force by the police must end immediately. We must continue to work together towards building a strong relationship between our 2 countries. Question, I'll start with Mr. Wong. The protesters have formed a consensus around 5 demands, including withdrawal of the extradition bill and, of course, universal suffrage. Does the government need to comply with all 5 demands immediately, or is there a phased or alternative outcome that might be acceptable?
Hong Kong people fight for free election and universal suffrage since 3 decades ago, even earlier than I born. All the 5 demands is the consensus of Hong Kongers took to the street in the past 3 months, and all those 5 demands are also within the existing constitutional framework. Especially, Beijing made the promise in the Sino-British Joint Declaration and recognized the importance to let Hong Kong people enjoy freedom and autonomy, especially with the quote of Hong Kong people ruling Hong Kong. So I would say that democracy movement and protest must continue until the day we have democracy, even we strongly experience the state capitalist regime crackdown on Hong Kong human rights. So I would say that now we have continued our summer of discontent and becoming the year of discontent. We just hope the world to understand more how Hong Kong people were in the difficult time in this long-term and uphill battle.
Let me, if I could, interject. Thank you. I've got a vote
Yes.
coming up. I've got to get to. I'm probably going to get there quickly. But a follow-up question: how do you expect Chief Executive Carrie Lam? How do you think she'll respond to these demands? And how much power does she have to make concessions, or would Beijing have the final say?
That's an extremely good question. Carrie Lam is a puppet government handpicked by Beijing, and she is not the decision maker. What we realize is withdraw the bill or not, stopping police brutality or not, or allowing Hong Kong people enjoy free election or not, all depends on Beijing authorities instead of Chief Executive of Hong Kong. Carrie Lam doesn't have a say on it. She's just following the order from Beijing authorities, especially on how the State Council in Beijing regularly hold a press conference in the past few weeks to criticize on Hong Kong protests. It already showed that how Carrie Lam can't solve the political crisis by her personal capacity.
All right, thank you. I'd love to keep the discussion going longer, but I've got to go down the floor.
We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I think Mr. Smith has one additional question.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I do appreciate it. If I could, and Ms. Hom, you did mention it, and I think it bears a little further scrutiny. One of the notions of there's no such thing as a free lunch, in my opinion, applies with on steroids to the issue of Confucius centers, which are just agents of influence, pushing the Beijing line. In the past, in both my subcommittee on human rights, which I chaired, and this commission, I've held a series of hearings on Confucius centers, as well as on those entities, universities, colleges that get access to the mainland China especially, and get an enormous number of perks, money, physical plant venues for their colleges or universities, including NYU. And matter of fact, I had the chancellor of NYU testify at one of my hearings and asked that I could go and speak, and he allowed me to come and give a speech or a lecture on human rights in Shanghai at the NYU campus. But the concern is that there are en route to 1,000 or something like that globally, that is to say the Chinese government with these Confucius centers. We have 96 in the United States, 82 are public, 14 are private. One of the things that I'm most concerned about, and Rob Portman and I asked for a GAO report on this that finally came out in February of this year, and that is to look at the terms and conditions, which really is mostly secret, but we have a situation where hand-picked teachers come to the United States, come to Africa, go to Africa, I should say, Latin America, everywhere, and they seemingly are doing education in the language and culture, but it's all about the worldview and the domestic defense of Xi Jinping's policies, including Hong Kong. My question very specifically is, what are the Confucius centers? Do you have any insights as to what they're saying about what's going on in Hong Kong right now? And those universities and colleges, US-based, that are in China today, what are they able to say and do without fear of retaliation, like at the NYU campus in Shanghai, about this great human rights, pro-democracy effort on the part of all of you in Hong Kong?
我现在问到的是这个关于孔子学院是不是可能会影响到
Thank you.
在这个学院的这个学校的环境当中会怎么样影响到言论自由？我们现在来听一下 Sharon Hom 的回答。
And I think they've had some really good victories that show you really can push back and get the institutions to be more the quick answer to what are they saying is what can they say will always be under the guideline right now. Under the ideological campaign that's underway, where every single party non-member has to participate in political study, that the line of the day, what can be reported in Xinhua, what can be reported in the news, everything will be determined from the top. And if you say anything, and as you know, under the new regulations, under the Cybersecurity Act for the news is defined very broadly to include opinion, and commentary, including blogging, so you can't say, blog, think anything except what the line comes down. So when the line comes down in Hong Kong, currently, the line is, it is a riot backed up by black hands, led by the US, interfering in domestic an affair and violating China's sovereignty. This is the same old chestnut we all hear over and over, and they got to get a better story here. But that's what they keep saying, and so I think that is now the dominant what anyone can say. Because if you say anything against that, for example, you have a different idea. Not only are you violating the new news regulations, you're also running the risk of subversion, incitement, because that is defined as going against the party's views. So I think that's why it is so important that the authoritarian system in the mainland must change. It's got to change, or I think it's still, I think that Hong Kong people, I know I've heard some of my friends and colleagues say to the US, please save us. I actually have another angle on that. I think Hong Kong people will save ourselves. I think Hong Kong people are going to do it. What I think is necessary from the international community is please help make the human cost less, because it's very clear and heartbreaking that the young people are ready to go to the mat. And I think the key is, as I think the US government and this commission is doing, is to stand by so that the human costs can be mitigated a little bit.
Understood, but how do the teachers in the Confucius Institute get their marching orders?
So this is like going inside of a black box, but let me speculate. Yeah. I am pretty sure that all the curricula are approved and reviewed. I'm pretty sure they don't exercise academic freedom and say, here's a creative thing I can do about Hong Kong. I'm pretty sure that they're all approved curricula. How do we know this? Because you will see nothing there about 89. You will know, there are just big holes in that history, what's happening, and all of the, you'll probably read about the diverse ethnic groups in China, happy people, happy Tibetans, happy Uyghurs, you'll probably see that version of what is happening. So I'm pretty sure. The other thing is, if those institutes are also monitored. So if anyone says anything that actually challenges the dominant narrative, I'm pretty sure that teacher will be in trouble. So I think it's pretty tightly controlled, and the money is the, what do you see the word, the enticement to universities. And I think not only just for the Confucius Institutes, they sometimes come along with other really good goods like an endowed chair, like money for a chair, like money for a program. So I think there's this kind of collapse. Because Senator Daines left, can I say something to him anyway? Yes, okay, Senator, I'm so sorry, but I really think it's important. As somebody who loves Hong Kong, and personally and professionally, and as a member of from the private sector, I think we need to also remember that every single SOE, state-owned enterprise, has a party committee. And now that requirement has extended to companies with foreign investments and foreign companies. I had a Canadian company ask me, how could that be? Why are they making us establish a party committee? I said, you're not being targeted. All the companies will have to have a party committee. What does the party committee do? Review your personnel, review your management, review your business decisions, make sure everybody is ideologically pure, blah, 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 like that. And do they hide this? Not a secret. Look at the annual reports of China Telecom, China Mobile. They have pictures of the annual meeting of the party committee saying, we did good, the party committee's happy with us this year, we complied. So I think the American companies going in, there are listed SOEs. I think Apple Daily reported over 120 that are listed, 100 Chinese companies listed on the Hong Kong Exchange. They all have party committees within their management structure. So I think we need to look at that when you're looking at these other actors.
Thank you.
That's for you, Senator Daines.
Well, thank you very much. You've been very patient. You've been here for 2.5 hours. I'm the last person, so you have to bear with me just a little bit more. But
好，我们现在来赶快做一下简短的回顾。就刚才呢，这个 Chris Smith，这个共和党的众议员，他又问到了关于孔子学院的问题哦。他问到这些这孔子学院到底代表什么？这个主要的内容是什么呢？是不是真的像大家所说的？因为在这个美国就有93间孔子学院，目前还正在营运哦。那这个城市大学纽约城市大学的教授 Sharon 呢，他就说，其实这个孔子学院呢，这当中就要讲到说，这个是中国的。等于是传声筒的一个惯用的手法，在这个教程呢是要怎么样来通过这个教程的程序呢？当然目前没有人可以给一个很明确的答案，不过他的猜测呢就是，当然这些内容是一定会经过非常缜密的审核的，所有就是比较敏感的议题，比如说89年天安门这些是不可能在孔子学院的教程当中的，而这个在这个学院里面的所有这些教职员呢，他们的一举一动还有他们教的内容，相信也会被紧密的关注。而这个孔子学院它的这个经费呢是哪里来，还有它的这个合作方他们是有一个什么样子的经济上面的合作呢？他说，像是很多时候啊，这个教授或者是一个program 一个特定的一个组织或者是一个教程，可能都会在当然他没有说金源是哪里，不过这个用捐赠的方式呢，其实是一个很简单的方式来保持学院之间的互动，还有这个合作未来的发展性。那他就回头说到，他想要回头跟刚才的这位共和党的参议员 Mr. Steve Daines 问到这个关于香港活动这个跟中美外交相关关系哦，他就说到了，其实现在在香港的这个交易所当中呢，有120个中国企业是这个登记在这上面的，而这每一个公司呢，他们虽然是或者是任何的外国企业，如果你要在中国工作的话，你要有一个 party committee， 意思就是说，今天你要在中国可以有这个经济上面的活动的话呢，你一定是要有一个代表可以在跟共产党有一个非常紧密的合作，并且在每次的会议当中呢，都会做出一个报告，表示这一次的这个这个活动啊，或者是公司的运作啊，是不是还是跟整个中国国家的大方向，还有这个党的理念是相符合的。他认为外国的企业呢，很多人对这个是不是很适应哦？不过这其实是一个很正常的一个 practice， 就是一个必须就是你要在中国工作，投资就是一部分，这是大家都需要配合的。那在更早之前呢，其实在这个孔子学院的问题之前哦，还有在讲到这个思想自由方面的问题哦，我们刚才是简短的做了一个回顾，就何韵诗他认为这些演艺人员呢，他们在于思想自由上面基本上是没有。那就说到了这个在中国的学生之间的交流，这个 Sharon Hom 他也说到了，就说回到这个孔子学院呢，他认为在这个思想自由上面呢，他认为虽然是在海外，但是中国的学生还是很多程度上面是受到监视的。不论是在像是孔子学院，或者是在一般正规的美国大学当中呢，其实都还是脱离不了这相关的关系。这也是为什么美国是十分需要在这当中来介入。他并且说到，他认为香港民众是有能力来解决这一次的抗争的。他说 ，Hong Kong people will solve the problem ourselves or save ourselves， 我们会自己拯救自己。但是呢， 美国在这当中还是要扮演一个协助的角色，因为像是不管这个人权法案啊，这些都其实在国际的舞台上面可以造成非常大的这个效应。很多的在旁边观察的这些国家呢，如果在美国的开头之下呢，相信也会对于这个香港的民主以及未来呢，也会有所的帮助。好，我们现在来听，这是一个最后一个问题的回答，是由 Dan Garrett 现在正在发表他的意见。
Witnesses here, the people in this room, are looking to save Hong Kong's autonomy, to save the two systems. Well, in Beijing and some places in Hong Kong, they're looking to weaponize the two systems against the U.S. So this is not just an issue of getting a good trade deal from China. It's an issue much broader than that. The weaponization of one country, two systems, or the two systems specifically, is looking at how China can use Hong Kong's advantages, such as U.S. customs treatment of it, to exploit the world. We've seen it with the recent scandal at the United Nations, where Patrick Ho was basically found guilty of state capture of the United Nations to promote the Belt and Road Initiative. We've seen it earlier with China getting its first aircraft carrier from Ukraine. That was done through a whole series of deceptions and manipulations of Hong Kong's special status. And these types of things are still going on today. But we're not looking at, and this is one of the reasons why, in my opinion, it's very important to treat state-owned enterprises in Hong Kong and anybody affiliated with the CPPCC or the NPC differently than how we would treat regular Hong Kongers. Thank you.
Ms. Horn?
I really think that's a scary thought to give advice to Trump or the administration, but I think that any actions by the administration has to hold true to the U.S.'s core values. The U.S. has core values on human rights and democracy and freedom. And I totally echo, Hong Kong should not be made into a bargaining chip in some deal that's on the table. The ideological confrontation and the battle of the models is actually much more than that. It's really China against the world. It's not two models of equal legitimacy and equal, because the model that China is trying to attack and replace is the model that the international community, with Eleanor Roosevelt, in fact, playing a very key role in the Universal Declaration. You know, it was a world order that came out to say we will never again have what happened in Nazi Germany. We will never again have mass detentions. We will never have mass trampling on human dignity. And so to take down that order, it's not about models. The Chinese models are not co-equal. It is a Chinese party model. And I think we should start framing it as China against the dominant world order. It is a dominant world order, and it still exists, and they can't treat it as if we could now change the model. And so I think on no consequences. There needs to be more consequences, but it's not totally accurate. It's very important to recognize that there are consequences already. When the U.S. speaks up, when the commission has this hearing, it's being watched and it's being listened to. I'm sure we're in living rooms in Beijing right now of some high official watching this, but
You're live on C-SPAN.
I'm on C-SPAN. You know, Hong Kong人加油 is what I have to say to them. But so I think the consequences that we also should keep in mind is the party does want legitimacy. It can't stay in power through naked military bullying and force. It can get a long ways with bullying, but it can't stay in power without legitimacy. And that's what the whole international human rights system, the U.S. holding on to core values, you don't have to give that up. You say, no, we're not going to give you that legitimacy. You're acting like a thug. We don't respect thugs. So I think that's really important.
Thank you. Mr. Cheung?
A quick response to your question is that I think China is getting more wealthy and is getting mighty, and that China is picking up all the fights with other countries in the free world. China is expanding their military in the South China Sea. They ignore the international court judgment and claim that they have the ownership of the South China Sea, which severely threatens the security in the Asia-Pacific region. And they even pick up a fight with Canadian regarding the Huawei incident. And who will really pick up a fight with Canadian? Only China, I think. And this is unreasonable, and that explains how assertive China is. And that's why I believe only the American, you are the only superpower that can really try to contain China. That's why we need the support from the US government. And regarding how China is doing a lot of silent invasion, I use the wording according to the Professor Hamilton in Australia, they are using a very silent invasion, using their economic dominance, try to colonize and control many local society in other countries. And many local society in other countries are already compromised, like some East Asian countries and like the country like Sri Lanka, they have to list a military port to China for 99 years. And apparently this is a new imperialism for me, and I believe only US can contain China. And also secondly, I believe why US should be concerned about Hong Kong is that you have many interests in here, and you have to secure your interests. For example, a few months ago, when there is a US sanction that Hong Kong should not allow a ship which carrying the oil from the Iran. And the point is that Hong Kong government, they ignore the US sanction, and they allow the ship from the Iran to come to Hong Kong and try to carrying those oils back to Iran. And apparently this undermines your interests, and that's why this is one of the most important reasons you should care about Hong Kong, and you should do something instead of just maybe issuing statement to support Hong Kong.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Ho.
This historic fight in Hong Kong has only been possible with the determination of the youngsters and of the Hong Kong people. And I would really like to take this chance to thank the members of this commission and Chairman McGovern and Co-Chairman Rubio for the continuous attention on Hong Kong issues, and of course to the push of this act, because this has contributed in giving hope to the Hong Kong people in the way that it is telling the youngsters that their efforts is actually making a change in the world, and that we are not in a isolated struggle. It is a global fight. We are in the front lines of this global fight to protect these universal values that we all cherish. So hopefully by passing this act, we would be seeing a momentum in the international communities where other countries, they might join in and to preserve and to preserve these values, and also to monitor this totalitarian regime that is actually destroying these values on a daily basis. So thank you very much.
Mr. Wong.
With the sharp power expansion from China to Canada and Australia, the Belt and Road Initiative implies how China takes advantage in European country, economic advantage in European country, and how China do not respect on international order after entering WTO, after promise on joint declaration, and even having the negotiation with US on the trade deal. We all are aware the uprising China model is just the expansion of authoritarian rule and without any respect on international orders with liberal values. And that's imply and explain why Hong Kong matter to the world, because Hong Kong people will stand on the forefront to confront the authoritarian rule, and Hong Kong people is aware that Hong Kong is the forefront and we will confront the authoritarian crackdown. If Hong Kong fall, and the next may be the free world. And I strongly realize now is the time for the US Congress to pass the Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act. And also, I hope US government could reveal its foreign policy to China to prioritize human rights issue, especially now we are not only suffering in the political, but even humanitarian crisis. The first time for me to be in prison is 2 years ago. I remember I watched TV news on how Beijing authorities announced the no term limit for president in the future, which just let me realize that when I was in prison, and the one who locked me up in prison, which means the authoritarian rule represented by President Xi, will be the Emperor Xi. So that's the uphill and long-term battle. And in 2047, no matter me or Sunny or others, will be at the age of 50. And I hope after 28 years, Hong Kong can still be our hometown with freedom and democracy. And I think it's the time to thank all the congressmen and senators in the past few years and even in the past few decades, really paying attention to protest movement in Hong Kong. We stand in solidarity. We stand as one. Hong Kongers never walk alone. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
好，我们先来做一个最终的总结。刚才呢，就问了最后一个问题，就是为什么美国应该要来支持香港这次的运动，以及为什么应该要来支持这一次的这个香港人权与民主法案的通过呢？那在这当中呢，每一个参与的目击者就是都有发表他们的看法。其中第一个发言的是 Garrett， 他就表示呢，其实香港呢，他认为这个自治在香港现在并不存在的，虽然说这是他们一直被承诺的，但是呢，这个明显事实摆在眼前，这也是需要美国来正视的。他并且认为呢，香港的议题呢不应该只是中美贸易战的其中的一个内容，而是一个需要独立被大家来正视的一个议题。他并讲到呢，在中国北京呢，其实长时间都把香港的这个特殊的贸易区的这个的这个条件呢，把它拿来用一个作为一个在中国在经贸上面一个不正当的用途的一个区域他认为在这样的情况之下呢，北京真的是不应该又要有他们的这个等于是不承认香港的一国两制，同时呢又享有香港的特别的经贸地位的这个权益，所以相信美国国会呢在接下来的一连串的听证会当中呢，也可以针对这个问题来做一些琢磨。那纽约城市大学的中国人权执行主任和名誉法律教授 Sharon Hom 呢，他就说，他认为香港就重复了刚跟 Garrett 的说法，认为香港呢，它并不是中美贸易战当中的一个棋子，之前不是，现在在接下来的贸易战谈判当中呢，也不应该是。他认为呢，美国的国会当然在这上面呢，香港议题跟中美贸易战的谈判当中呢，可能会有一些利益冲突的这个一些角度，还有一些区域，但是呢，美国应该要跨党派的存着美国的这个立国的这个宪法以及他们的这个立国的理想来做出一个正确的决定。他就又说回了罗斯福他之前的共同声明的内容，表示呢，基本上罗斯福当时的内容就是说，像是纳粹这样子的当时在这个世界大战当中的行为呢，是不可以再重复的。而现在呢，他就把这个跟现在香港的一连串的这个运动呢，以及在中国发生的像是维吾尔族人以及这个西藏发生的事件呢，把它作为一个对比，表示呢，其实现在在中国呢，也是发生了很多这个真的是值得大家世界来关注的这些议题，尤其是美国在一个这个法治还有民主的这个全世界的一个领头羊的角色呢，是需要美国更多在这方面的关注的。他并说到呢，现在中国的所谓的人权的 model 人权的这个方式呢，是需要从结构上要有非常重大的改变的。而且美国在这次的像是我们今天刚刚看到听证会上面呢，也就是很明确的让中国知道他们的执法的方式，还有他对于这个一国两制的承诺跟反悔呢，是会有后果的。就像是不论是在经贸上的制裁，或者是在国会的听证会上面呢，都应该要反映出来。而这次的这个听证会上面就是一个这样子的例子。他并说到呢，共产党呢，在人权的议题上面呢，其实基本上是没有在跟世界上其他的国家的框架当中来运行的。这个中国的人权的方式呢，他希望在未来在美国 起了一个头之后呢，也可以带领其他世界的国家给中国压力，尤其是在香港的议题上面。但是他就也说到了，就是他刚才他就强调，他认为那个香港人加油，香港人是有能力在这次的运动上面呢继续努力挺进，并且在最终可以做出一些不一样的。再说到呢，这个香港大专学界国际事务代表团的 Sunny 呢，他就说，其实现在中国呢是跟全世界都是处于一个抗争的拔河的一个情况。比如说在军事方面，不论是在南海或是亚太的局势上面呢，基本上所有人都是中国的敌人。那在像是跟加拿大，他就开了一个玩笑，说加拿大这么友善的一个国家，怎么会有人跟加拿大来这个进行这个冲突呢？就说到中国在这个华为孟晚舟案上面呢，也因为加拿大受了美国的要求，把孟晚舟在温哥华逮捕了，所以现在在外交上面还有在经贸上面都对加拿大有非常多的制裁。他认为在这些的行动上面可以看得出来，现在中国是全世界的敌人。而在这当中呢，为什么美国需要正视这个香港的议题呢？其实是因为他认为除了对于香港本身的人权角度上面美国是应该关注之外呢，还有一个很实际的就是香港的议题其实对美国是有非常直接实际上面的影响的。他认为一些经过美国制裁的一些贸易协定呢，中国都可以以香港的这个经贸特区来做一个等于是钻其中的漏洞，而这个获益中国当局。所以他认为美国如果在香港的议题上面不手腕硬一点的话呢，其实不论是在人权上或者是在实际的这个经贸的贸易交流上面呢，都是会有所损失的。那何韵诗呢，他就说香港年轻人这次活动当中呢，他们真的是非常的坚定，而且非常的有意志力哦。他首先要给他们加油打气一下。就说到了这一次的听证会呢，其实虽然今天的听证会下来当然只是一个讨论，并没有什么具体的结论或是一个具体的提议，但他认为像这样子的美国的态度上面的表示呢，就给了香港的年轻人非常多的希望。他并认为呢现在呢全世界在这个香港议题上面都应该要给予更多的关注哦，因为其实香港的议题呢就是在保护全世界的所有国家大家都共同分享的一些基本的价值观，比如说人权还有自由思想的这些内容。那最后的这个最后结论呢，就留给了黄之锋了。黄之锋他就说，其实从很多的问题上面都可以看出来中国的蛮横和独裁，比如说一带一路或者是 WTO 或者是这个联合声明上面中国它其实在这些议题上面呢，都跟全世界其他国家并没有共同的价值。所以这就是为什么香港是非常重要的，因为香港虽然是在中国之内，是中国的一个城市，但是香港人他在这些国际的价值上面呢，是跟国际其他国家站在一起的。因此，如果中国内部有表现出来是不在这个框架当中跟大家一起往一个同样的目标进行的时候呢，香港可以站出来，并且给予北京一个很坚定的一个反对的声音。这也是为什么美国国会需要在接下来的听证会当中赶快来通过香港民权以及民主法案。因为呢这个他就说到他当时呢被关在监狱里面的时候，他听到了这个中国的领导人呢，他现在是终身制的，他就觉得他对人生顿时好像觉得这个未来是十分的希望非常的渺茫。他希望在经过接下来的这一段抗争之后呢，在28年之后呢，在这个50年，等于是香港回归50年之后呢，他还是可以很骄傲的把香港称作是他自己的国家。好了，以上就是今天差不多是原本预计是2个小时，但是今天现在差不多3个小时的听证会这个内容呢，其实今天主要内容讨论的就是美国国会指称中国侵害香港的自主权、一国两制，并且讨论北京在这次的香港活动上面的介入的程度，还有对香港警察滥用暴力的问题，以及 美国国会和美国总统要怎么样来经过今天的听证会得到一些实质的意见，来面对接下来的就是美国要怎么做出决定，要在这上面做出什么样的表态。那今天就是我们将近3个小时的现场报道。如果您对今天的报道有什么样子的意见，或是有什么说不对的地方呢，欢迎您在这下面给我们留言，告诉我们怎么改进。我是维人，我们下次再见。打开明镜电视，每次都是新世界。节目中言论为个人见解，不代表明镜的观点或立场。YouTube 频道名明镜火拍，苹果博客名明镜火拍音频版，网站 www.minjingnews.com， 推特@minjingnews， 脸书 Facebook